All right, all right, all right. It's been a while. It has been a while. Well, let me check my audio real quick. Say something, me. Can you hear me? I can hear me. We are rolling. We are rolling. Am I streaming in 1080? This looks like kind of low resolution to me, but maybe I'm just crazy. No, we're streaming in 1080. All right. I don't know. My whole screen looks really. Oh, my preview is currently showing that we're in 480. Man, I'm over sharpened right now, but I don't. Whatever. I don't care. I hope it's. I don't know why everything looks so over sharpened for you. I'll figure things out. All right, audio sounds fine. I'm gonna check. We're gonna be checking and testing a few things. I'm sure one day I'll be an adult streamer and I'll know how to do like a pre-stream or something. But clearly I'm too stupid to figure that out still. So I just want to test some stuff. Let's go to the actual save act itself. And I want to see what the volume's gonna be like for you guys. One sec.
Summaries are authored by CRS.
Okay, so
shown here. Introduced in house.
Her voice
January
is about there.
3rd, 2025.
I think I'm gonna bring her down and meet
Safeguard
up
American
here.
Voter Eligibility Act
At about there. All right. Pause that. Now I monitor.
Introduced in house.
I think that sounds fine. That sounds fine to me. Wow. Okay. All right. I actually think that sounds okay for now. All right. So I'm probably gonna do a whole lot of that so that you guys can actually freaking read the words and I'm not screwing you over. Like I want you to be able to see this. Oh. Okay. It says the bitrate for the stream is doing pretty okay for once. We're live with 0 viewers, completely acceptable to me. Like I've ever cared. I do this for me because I think it's funny and entertaining. All right, so there's that, but I don't know if.
Share.
Hey,
these questions and answers are.
Hey, I think we're set up. Actually, I think we're ready to go. You would think after years and 1 year. It's been like a year and a few months since I did the first one of these types of streams. I guess I should go ahead and do like the YouTuber intro for this. Hello and welcome back to the Quiet Part YouTube channel once again. In today's stream, we are continuing the Quiet Part legacy, the Quiet Parts ultimate history. What do we call this? A tradition that I've built on this channel where I take some big important piece of legislation that I believe is going to have meaningful impacts on people's lives, and I purposefully read that documentation or read whatever that is. I gotta turn Minecraft's volume down. You know what? How about I do this? One sec. I'm gonna turn my own headphones down. The whole point of these streams is that I'm going to be taking an important piece of legislation or a document that I believe is going to have a meaningful and serious impact on people's lives. And I read that document while speedrunning Minecraft or a different video game. And the joke is it's twofold. It's a little bit satire. It's a little bit public education. It's a little bit me trying to be a good role model for you and the world. You can see here, this is going to be our little setup. Let me get Minecraft pulled back up so you can see it. There we go. Okay, so this is the setup. We've got our document where we're going to be having things read aloud in a couple of different tabs over here. Okay, so specifically, of course, today we are reading the Save Act, which I think means, I don't know, I just read it a second ago. What does it technically mean? Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. Oh, that's the old version. I gotta make sure that we end up reading the newest, most correct version. Yeah, we'll figure all that out in a sec. Don't worry about it. But the idea is this. I have never been much of a reader. I have ADHD and learning disabilities, and I'm autistic and yada yada. I've never been much of a reader, right? But I care about maybe not what people would call politics, but I care about people's lives and the world, and I care about justice. And I think it's important for average people to actually read the legislation that all of these politicians are going to be using to affect the outcome of people's lives. Hi, I can see you in chat, by the way. Hi, Divyanshu. My entire thing here with this stream and these types of streams is to put my money where my mouth is and actually sit the heck down and read the documentation instead of depending on some CNN journalist or APAC-funded politician to tell me about it for me. That's the purpose of these streams, is to sit down, do the actual work, become informed on my own, but in a way that works for me. And the way that works for me is, of course, by having it read aloud to me, because that's how I read best. Just most of the time, when I don't want to read something, I'd much rather hear it read aloud. And then twofold to then speedrun Minecraft while I read these documents. Why? To keep me from being bored and just to do a goofy Gen Z, Gen Alpha, satirical, absurdist thing while I'm reading a document that will massively impact the outcome of real people's lives. So it's a bunch of things put together. It's a joke, it's serious, it's education, it's informative, it's prefigurative. It's me putting my money where my mouth is and being like, hey, I'm reading these things, you can too, and let's give myself a goal to achieve while I do this in this stream. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge to see, can I beat Minecraft before reading documents like these makes me want to rip my hair out and just go completely insane. That is the true joke here, as it has always been. So I think we are going to try and get rolling. I'm going to start reading. But I have a caveat. In order to make this fair, because I'm not a Minecraft speedrunner, we are going to start by reading a website about the original document that the SAVE Act is based on. So there should be links in the video description when this is done, or even in the stream's description, of the Department of Justice website that we're about to be reading from, and then the congress.gov website, pretty sure it's congress.gov. Yep, the congress.gov website that actually holds the HR 22 SAVE Act itself. We're going to be first reading from who you are talking. Whom am I talking? I'm talking, I don't know. We are going to be reading these two kind of documents. This here, the National Voter Registration Act, is an act in the United States that was passed in 1993, and it has a massive impact on how Americans are able to vote in federal elections and how the states organize how federal elections work. And the entire reason we're going to be reading that first is, one, so I have enough time to even try to beat Minecraft, and then two, the SAVE Act itself is based on amending and modifying this initial act. So if we just read the SAVE Act, we're not going to have context on what it's modifying and how voting works in America right now. So we're going to read the original, and then the SAVE Act itself is really just something that is amending and redacting and modifying that original document. Be sure to pay attention to the links that I have pulled and linked in the description. Acts that are live and haven't fully passed yet are always being changed, so you should be able to see in the top left right here. I'm going to be being sure to read the 4/10/2025 version of this, which is currently the one that is being debated in the United States Congress. There was an original version that already got amended. We're going to be reading the most recent one. Let's just get some context before we even start Minecraft or start the stream or start the challenge. Something I like to click when reading through congress.gov is actions. What has already happened to this document before we got our hands on it? So if we go to the very beginning, it was introduced into the House on January 3rd of 2025. So frickin' a year and some change ago. It was then passed to the House committee. Then a few months later, a bunch of resolutions were reported. Some debate on it happened. Measures were put forward. So it got modified. Then throughout that 4th month, January, February, March, April, then throughout April, it got modified a bunch of times. A lot of work was done on it. And then there were postponed proceedings at the conclusion of a debate on it. Miss Johnson of Texas demanded the yeas and nays. Miss Johnson might be one of the people that's like sort of sponsoring the bill. Motion to recommit failed by yeas and nays. Pass on motion. Motion to reconsider laid on table. And then it was received in the Senate that month. And the Senate, I guess, has been talking about it and is finishing up talking about it now a whole year later. Yeah, we're in the 3rd month of 2026. And this was the 4th month of 2025. So it's been a year of stuff that's been going on since this was introduced. And now we're coming up upon, I don't actually know what the deadline is, but I'm going to read the version of it that exists right now just to put things into practice. It looks like the sponsor for this was Representative Chip Roy of Texas. Initially introduced through the House. The latest action was, of course, passing through the Senate on 4/10/2025, a year ago. It would need to pass the Senate next to then get to Trump's desk, which he will automatically sign it, and then it will become a law. What do I know about the act right now before even reading it? What I know is what I've heard. And I've heard that this act would make it so that a bunch of women who are married but never changed their last name would not be able to vote. And also a bunch of other people who don't have easy access to certain locations won't be able to vote either. So what is this? This is a poll tax. The white people did this to black people, I don't know, 60 years ago. 20 more. Yeah, like 60 years ago we did this to black people. And then we've done it like 4 other times too. Whenever you make a piece of legislation that makes it harder to vote, that's what I call a poll tax, especially if it requires money, like updating your information when you shouldn't need to. That's a poll tax. It's supposed to be unconstitutional. It's supposed to be unethical. It's supposed to be anti-democracy. It's supposed to be, the sort of thing that we used to, if someone tried this in the modern day, where am I from? I am from the United States. I currently live in Colorado. I was originally born in the Midwest of the United States in a state called Ohio. That's where I'm from. So currently I'm just a person in the United States. But, it's really only, you can see here it says it needs to pass the Senate and then president and then become a law. But like really this thing is one step away from becoming law. If the Senate passes it, this is real. This is happening. The thing that I have heard from people is that it's going to make it harder for married women who haven't changed their name. It's going to be harder for them to vote. And then people who are in certain places where they're far from a documenting agency, it's going to be hard for them to vote. All of these are bad and anti-democracy, but I haven't actually read the document, which is why I'm going to go out of my way today in this stream to actually read the document. But again, the document amends a pre-existing piece of legislation, an act. We're going to read some facts about that act first from our Department of Justice's .gov website. It's pretty long. Just in this will give me a lot of time to get going in the Minecraft speedrun. And then the actual text of the document itself is pretty short. So purposely trying to give myself some room to maybe read through this without losing Minecraft immediately. We're going to go ahead and start with the National Voter Registration Act of 1993. We're going to click More Tools and continue Read Aloud.
Designed to provide information and guidance to state and local officials as well as the general public concerning the provisions of the NVRA and its interaction with the other statutes enforced by the department.
Okay, I think that's a little quiet for you, and it
These
could be a bit louder
questions
for you
and
guys.
answers are designed to provide information
Audio check
and
low,
guidance
and
to
then my
state
mic is
and
going to be
local
about
officials
here.
as well as the general public concerning.
Actually, I'm going to turn it back down a bit. All right, I think we are officially ready to go. I'm going to get Minecraft loaded up. I'm going to start the National Voter Registration Act of 1993. We're going to read through this entire Department of Justice document website first to get full and complete context on the original act that it's amending. No, we are not actually reading the National Voter Registration Act of 1993. It's very, very, very long, and it just kind of won't really work. The document is too small. I can't see it. Yeah, that's definitely an issue that we tend to run into when we do these challenges. I will make the document a fair bit bigger if we can. There we go. And then we'll put Minecraft there. Wonderful. Minecraft is going to go there. Okay, yeah. The issue is it's not letting me adjust the... Ooh, here we go. There we go. Look at that. That's a lot bigger text. I wonder how far I can really push this. Oh, I can really push it. There we go. That's way better. Cool. Okay. All right, now I've got the text a lot bigger for at least that one. The text will be highlighted as it is being read, or at least it should. It'll also be, of course, being read aloud verbally. Oh, it's just a little too big, actually, because it's cutting off some letters to the left there. I think it'll be fine. Most of them are spaced over. Cool. So we'll be able to see it. We'll be able to hear it. The audio for Minecraft isn't nearly as important as anything else here. I'm going to get it started, then I'm going to click start on Minecraft because I guess that would be fair. No, I'm going to start Minecraft first. No. I think I usually do it like this when I would do this. I'm going to start... I'm going to start it reading, and then I'm going to start Minecraft. That's truly the fair way to do this. All right, we have officially started.
National Voter Registration
Let's
Act
see,
of
I need to
1993,
create a new world.
NVRA. Share. These questions
Save
and answers
act.
are designed to provide information
Survival
and guidance
normal.
to state and
We're
local
good.
officials as well
Generate
as the
new
general
world.
public concerning the provisions of the NVRA and its interaction with the other statutes enforced by the department.
Okay, so this website is really
The
just
department welcomes comments
telling me
concerning
basic
this
stuff
document.
about this pre-existing act from the
Questions
90s.
and answers. Overview.
Oh, and in this playthrough,
What
we
is
are
the
allowed
NVRA?
to start
National Voter
and
Registration
restart
Act of
new worlds while we
1993,
play.
also known
I
as
don't
the
have to do just
NVRA
one
or
world of
Motor
Minecraft.
Voter
I get to look
Law,
around
sets
and
forth
generate
certain
new
voter
worlds until I get
registration
something good.
requirements with respect to elections for federal
It's going to be
office.
my rule that I only force
Section
myself to
5
use
of
the
the
initial
NVRA
world that I get
requires
in
that
documents
states
that are
offer
more than
voter
500
registration
pages, which I
opportunities at
have
state
done
motor
several
vehicle
times now.
agencies.
This is not
Section
one of
6
those
of the NVRA
16-hour
requires that
streams.
states
This will be like a
offer voter
5-6 hour stream maybe.
opportunities by mail-in application. Section 7 of the NVRA requires that states offer voter registration opportunities
Right, based on the
at certain
Constitution,
state and local
states
offices,
actually
including
organize
public
how federal
assistance and
elections take
disability
place.
offices.
I already knew that.
Section 8 of the NVRA contains
Okay, we've got
requirements
like
with respect to the
a
administration of
fortress
voter
thingy over here.
registration by states and requires
Stronghold?
states to implement procedures to maintain accurate and current voter registration lists. What states are covered by the NVRA's requirements?
Oh my god, I should have gotten whatever
The
there.
requirements of the NVRA apply to 44 states and the District of Columbia.
Huh.
6 states, Idaho, Minnesota,
6
New
states are
Hampshire,
exempt.
North Dakota, Wisconsin, and Wyoming, are exempt from the NVRA because, on and after August 1, 1994, they either
had
had
no
no voter registration requirements or had Election Day voter registration at polling places with respect to elections for federal office.
Huh.
Likewise, the territories are not covered
So
by the
some
NVRA.
states back in the
Puerto
90s
Rico, Guam, Virgin Islands,
Had
American
no voter
Samoa.
registration requirements.
While
You
the
were just
NVRA
auto-registered.
applies to elections for federal office,
You didn't have. You just
states
were
have
registered
extended its
in
procedures
those
to all
states
elections.
back then.
Section 5, Motor
Motor vehicle.
Vehicle
Right.
Agencies.
Most people provide their
What voter
identification
registration
using.
opportunity is required by Section 5 of the NVRA. Each state motor vehicle driver's license application, including any renewal application, submitted to a state motor vehicle authority must serve as a simultaneous voter registration application unless the applicant fails to sign the voter registration application.
Okay.
This application for
Stone.
voter registration must be considered as updating any previous voter registration by the applicant. In addition, any change of address form submitted for state driver's license purposes must also serve as notification of change of address
kidding
for
me? I
voter
already hit
registration
freaking granite.
purposes unless the registrant states
Why
on the
granite?
form that the change of address is not for voter registration
Right,
purposes.
this world is already not going very well.
This means that all changes of address submitted to state motor
That took a
vehicle
while.
offices must be forwarded to election authorities unless the registrant affirmatively requests otherwise by opting out on the form. Do the voter registration requirements of Section 5 of the NVRA apply to all license transactions with driver's license offices? Yes. The NVRA defines the term motor vehicle driver's license to include any personal identification document issued by a state motor vehicle authority. Hence, the NVRA voter registration opportunity applies to applications, renewals, and change of address transactions regarding any personal identification document issued by a state motor vehicle authority.
Crap, where did I put that table?
Moreover, to the extent that the state provides for remote applications for driver's licenses, driver's license renewals, or driver's license changes of address, via mail, telephone, or internet or other means, then provision must be made to include the required voter registration opportunity as well. Does Section 5 of the NVRA mandate the use by states of any particular forms or procedure? Yes. Each state must include a voter registration form as part of an application for a state driver's license and any application for driver's license renewal.
So anytime
the voter
you
registration portion of the application may not require
renew your
any
license,
information that duplicates
you're allowed
information
to
required
register
on the
to vote.
driver's license portion of the application and may require only the minimum amount of information necessary to prevent
It doesn't
duplicate
automatically
voter
do it,
registrations
you just
and
have
permit
access
state officials
to the
both
chance
to
to do
determine
that.
the eligibility of the applicant to vote and to administer the voting process. The voter registration application must state each voter eligibility requirement, including citizenship, contain an attestation that the applicant meets each requirement, state the penalties provided by law for submission of a false voter registration application and require the signature of the applicant under penalty of perjury. In addition, the application shall
I
also
register to
include
vote when
statements
I was a
specifying
kid?
that, 1. If an applicant
I'm pretty
declines
sure
to
that I
register
didn't register to vote
the
when I
fact
was
that
18.
The applicant has declined to register will remain confidential and will be used
Because
only
I
for
was
voter
actually
registration purposes.
a
And
few
2,
months too
if
young
an
to
applicant
vote
does
in the
register to
2016
vote,
election.
The identity of the office at which the applicant
So I
submits a
didn't
voter
even think to register to
registration
vote because I wasn't even going to vote
application
in a presidential
will
election.
be
And back
used
then, I
only
didn't
for
even know
voter
there was.
registration purposes. When a state contracts with a private entity to administer services
Oh yeah,
in an agency
Divvy,
that
I
is
can do
required
this
to
with
offer voter registration,
let me see.
the
It looks
ultimate
like my
responsibility for ensuring
what happened to
provision
my
of voter
camera? Is my camera
registration
dead now?
services remains with the state, and
What
the
has
voter
happened here?
registration requirements
Oh, I
under
stopped
the
playing
NVRA
my
remain
life
the
thing.
same.
Let me
What is a
restart
motor
this.
vehicle agency required to do with completed voter registration applications accepted at its offices? Completed
There
voter
we go.
registration applications accepted at a motor vehicle
Am I
agency
moving?
must
I
be
am moving.
transmitted to the appropriate state election official
Okay,
no
that's
later
cool.
than 10 days after acceptance.
I have done these.
However, if an application
these
is
streams
accepted
with,
at a motor vehicle agency within 5
actually, I
days
don't
of
think
a
I've
voter
done them with,
registration deadline for an election, the
like in a
application must be
Minecraft server
transmitted
with
to
friends,
election
because like the
officials no
point of the
later than
speedrun
5
is to do it
days after
yourself.
acceptance.
So I always end
The
up just doing
agency
it myself.
providing voter registration services may
I
not
have done
require a
Minecraft servers
registrant to
before, though.
mail
They
and
are
inform
fun.
himself or herself or discourage him or her in any manner from submitting the form to the agency.
All right, let me read that
Similarly,
again. Complete voter registration applications accepted at a motor vehicle agency must be transmitted to the appropriate state election official no later than 10 days after acceptance. However, an application is accepted at a motor vehicle agency within 5 days of a voter registration deadline for an election. The application must be transmitted to an election official no more than 5 days. So one of the main things here, each state must include a voter registration form as part of an application for a state's driver's license. So you are always given the opportunity
similarly,
to register to vote. You don't have to, but it's on the forms.
It is agency practice to make sure that agency forms are completed and signed when submitted by an applicant. The same practice should apply to a voter registration application submitted by
I'm not in the
that
flow
applicant.
state. I'm not in the flow state right now.
Section
I'm
6,
restarting.
mail
Also, I'm having an issue
registration.
where I can't see my
What are the requirements for voter
can't see my
registration
cursor,
by mail provided by Section
which is
6 of the
pretty
NVRA?
weird to me. So
Section 6 of the NVRA requires each state to accept and use the Federal Mail Voter Registration Application form
I'm going to
developed
go
by the
ahead
U.S.
and just
Election
do a
Assistance
full
Commission.
window capture.
This form is available on the EAC's website at https://www.eac.gov/voters/national-mail-voter-registration-form. Links to other
Okay, that's
government
whack.
and non-government sites will typically appear with the external link icon to
I'm
indicate
just gonna
that
do
you are
a full
leaving the
display
Department of
capture then.
Justice
One sec.
website when you click the link. In addition to containing a voter registration application, this EAC application booklet describes
there we go.
certain
We're just gonna put
state-specific
Minecraft here.
requirements. The national form and booklet have been developed by
because
the
something's
EAC
going
in
on.
consultation with the states.
Oh, it's a Minecraft
Can a
issue.
state
It's not
develop
even a
its
me
own
issue.
mail voter
Well, whatever.
registration application? Yes.
Let me do this then.
Section 6 of the NVRA also provides that, in addition to accepting and using the federal mail application, a state may develop
Can a
and
state
use
develop
its own mail voter registration form
mail
if
system?
it meets all of the same criteria the NVRA requires for the EAC's National Mail Voter Registration Application. What are the requirements for the National Mail Voter Registration Application? Section 9 of the NVRA provides that the National Mail Voter Registration Application may require only such identifying information, including the signature of the applicant, and other information, including data relating to previous registration by the applicant, as is necessary to enable the appropriate state election official to assess the eligibility of the applicant and to administer voter registration and other parts of the election process. The application also must include a statement that specifies each eligibility requirement, including citizenship, contain an attestation that the applicant meets each such requirement and require the signature of the applicant under penalty of perjury. The mail application must also include a statement of the penalties provided by law for submission of a false voter registration application. The mail application must also include statements specifying that, 1. If an applicant declines to register to vote, the fact that the applicant has declined to register will remain confidential and will be used only for voter registration purposes, and 2. If an applicant does register to vote, the identity of the office at which the applicant submits a voter registration application will remain confidential and will be used only for voter registration purposes. The mail application may not include any requirement for notarization or other formal authentication. Section 303(b) of the Help America Vote Act of 2002, HAVA, also requires that the national mail application includes certain additional information.
All right, I'm thinking we're super cooked on beating
Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Of the United States of America, and boxes for the applicant to check to indicate
We are
whether
so
the
cooked on
applicant is
beating
or
the
is
game
not a citizen
already.
of the United States.
All right, let's go back through and just establish some basic understandings. So, the requirements of the Act apply to 44 states. A few are exempt, 6 are exempt, because on and after August 1st, they had no voter registration requirements or had election day voter registration at polling places. Election day voter registration at polling places with respect to elections for federal office. I'm pretty sure Colorado lets you register to vote the day of an election. Maybe that's not a federal election, but I don't know. I'm also wondering if this of course this justice.gov webpage is going to be for how the act is right now after amendments in 2026, right? It can't possibly be the original.
States.
Okay.
Second, the question, will you be
18
years of age on or before election day, and boxes for the applicant to check to indicate whether or not the applicant will be 18 years of age or older.
All right, that world
day.
didn't do good. We're going to make a new world.
Third, the statement, if you checked
New world.
no in response to either of these questions,
we're just going to keep
do not
making new
complete
worlds.
this form. Fourth, a statement informing the individual that if the form is submitted by mail and the individual is registering for the first time,
All right, where
the
are
appropriate identification required by
lock in.
HAVA must be submitted with the mail-in registration form to avoid the additional identification requirements upon voting for the first time. See question 11 below for a list of these forms of identification.
I see a village. Okay, this
Does
is
the
good. I see a
NVRA
village.
require states to make mail voter registration applications available? Yes. The chief election official of each state must make mail voter registration applications available for distribution through governmental and private entities, with particular emphasis on making them available for organized voter registration programs.
Okay.
Most states satisfy these requirements by,
ergonomic
among
right
other
now.
things, making applications available
Ooh.
at local registrar
Sorry.
offices,
My
driver
God.
license offices, public assistance offices and disability service offices, to groups doing voter registration drives, and through the internet on the website of the chief election official. These forms are also available on the website of the U.S. Election Assistance Commission.
Okay, I think we're good.
What requirements does federal law place
So
on
that's an
first-time-
interesting part of the act. Does the NVRA require states to make mail voter registration applications available? Specifically mail voter registration. Yes, it's got to be online, in person, to any group that's helping people get registered to vote, and through the internet. Okay, interesting. It requires every state of the states that are affected to make a
First-time voters
make it
who
online,
register to vote
available.
by mail. If a person registers to vote by mail and has not previously voted in a federal election in a state, Section 303(b) of the Help America Vote Act of 2002 established new requirements.
Okay. So these are
Where
other
a
things that have
person
modified
registers to vote by mail and
the
has not previously voted in a federal election in a state,
voting
if
act
the
before.
voter does not qualify for one of the exemptions in Section 303(b)(3) of HAVA, described below, then he or she must submit one of the forms of identification required by Section 303(b)(2)(a) of HAVA the first time that he or she votes in a federal election. These forms of identification are 1.
Okay, this is going to be huge. I have to memorize
or
this section.
2. A copy of a current utility bill, bank statement, government check, paycheck, or other government document that shows the name and address of the voter. If the voter does not present the required
Okay,
identification...
let's read this again. This is huge. What requirements does federal law place on first-time voters who register to vote by mail? When a person registers to vote by mail and has not previously voted in a federal election in a state, if the voter does not qualify for one of the exemptions described below, then he or she must submit one of the forms of identification required by that section of that document. These forms are valid photo identification, which that's passport or license, current and a copy of a utility bill, bank statement, government check, paycheck, or other government document that shows the name and address of the actual voter themselves. Okay. All right, 1 sec. Let me make sure something scuffed just happened to the audio. I knew this stream was going to be scuffed. It's been a while since I did a lot of this stuff. Let me double check. Are we still getting audio?
Identification.
Yes, good. Okay. So, again, to register to vote by mail for the first time as an 18-year-old or whatever, you must include a current and valid photo identification and a copy of a utility bill, bank statement, government check, paycheck, or other government document that shows the name and address of the voter, including utility bill, which that could be a lot. Like, does car insurance count as a utility? Probably, maybe. What counts as a utility in this case? Government check, paychecks you can get a hold of. I guess everyone's getting utility bills pretty often. Or other government document that shows your name and address. If the voter does not present the required identification, you may cast a provisional ballot. Interesting. Okay.
Identification.
Right, back to the run.
Section 303(b)(2)(b) of HAVA provides that he or she may nonetheless cast a provisional ballot. Sections 303(b)(3)(a)(c) of HAVA creates certain exemptions from these identification requirements.
Okay.
An applicant who provides the specified identification documents with his or her registration application, or otherwise provides such documentation
Hey,
to
where's
election
this village?
officials
I saw
before
a village
election
a
day,
second ago.
is exempt from the requirement to show
Over there. Let's get to
identification
it.
the first time he or she votes in a federal election. Likewise,
Okay.
an applicant who provides his or her driver's license number or last 4 digits of his or her
Just
social
last 4
security
digits
number,
of social.
and the state is able to match this information against an existing state record, is exempt from the requirement to show identification the first time he or she votes in a federal election.
Wait, this is interesting. Certain exemptions exist. An applicant who provides the specified identification documents with his or her registration before Election Day is exempt from the requirement to show ID for the first time he or she votes in a federal election. If an applicant provides the specified identification documents with their application, if they have all the other documents together. Likewise, an applicant provides his or her driver's license number or last 4 digits of his or her social security number, and the state is able to match this information against an existing state record, is exempt from these requirements to show identification the first time he or she votes in a federal election. In addition, persons entitled to vote by absentee ballot under the Voting Accessibility for the Elderly and Handicapped Act are exempt from HAVA's identification requirements. Okay. All right.
Election. In addition, persons entitled to vote by absentee ballot under the Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Act, or entitled to vote other than in person under the Voting Accessibility for the Elderly and Handicapped Act or other federal law, are exempt from HAVA's identification requirements. Section 7, Voter Registration Agencies. Under Section 7 of the NVRA, which offices must offer voter registration
I can't
services.
hear Minecraft at all. I should turn it
Any
off.
office in a covered state that provides
There we
either
go.
public assistance or state-funded programs primarily engaged in providing services to persons with disabilities must offer voter registration services.
Yeah, I don't even know if there's
Armed
good stuff here
Forces
yet. I shouldn't
recruitment
mind that.
offices must also provide voter registration services. In addition, a state must designate other offices in the state as voter registration agencies. See question 15 below for a description of these other offices. What is an office that provides public assistance under Section 7? Public assistance offices that must offer voter registration services under Section 7 of the NVRA include
Public
each
services,
agency
like
and
welfare
office in a
agencies?
state that administers or provides services or assistance under any public assistance programs.
What?
This
What is the
includes
relevance
any
of
of the
that?
following federal public assistance
SNAP?
programs: the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, formerly the Food Stamp Program, the Special Supplemental
all
Nutrition
these
Program for Women,
offices can
Infants,
help
and Children,
people
WIC, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, TNF,
get registered
program,
automatically? or
formerly
what?
the Aid to Families with Dependent Children,
I
or
mean, the obvious
AFDC
commentary
program,
that needs to be
the
said,
Medicaid
like,
program,
the fact that
and
I
the
haven't said
State
it and it's already
Children's
been like
Health
30 minutes is
Insurance
ridiculous.
Program, SCHIP.
The fact that you don't just automatically get
also
registered to
includes
vote when
state
you're
public
born is
assistance
insane in the
programs.
U.S.
What
You
is an
should just
office that
automatically
provides
be right.
state-funded
You
programs
exist.
primarily
You're a
engaged in
citizen.
providing
You should be
services to
registered.
persons with disabilities? Offices that
You're
provide
registered for a social
state-funded
security number.
programs
Why aren't you
primarily
registered to vote?
engaged in
Common
providing
sense.
services to persons with disabilities include offices providing vocational rehabilitation, transportation,
I guess
job
the issue is
training,
that obviously
education
little children
counseling,
can't vote, but like,
rehabilitation, or independent living services for persons
we're not
with
idiots. We live in a
disabilities.
modern age, and we can be like, you're
Because
not 18.
states vary greatly in the manner in which they provide services to persons with disabilities, each state must identify the specific offices and
I
agencies
don't know. This
that
world
fit
isn't
this
looking good
definition.
enough.
In
This
doing
village didn't
so,
have anything great
states
in
may
it.
want to consult with offices that deal with issues related to persons with disabilities,
dip and make
such as
another
the
whirl again.
protection and advocacy offices and client assistance program offices within that state. A list of such offices for each state is available at http://www.napas.org/about-us/pa_cap.htm. Section 7 also requires that if an office provides services to a person with disabilities
there's
at the
another
person's
village over there.
home, the
Okay,
office must
maybe there's a
provide the
chance.
opportunity to
Oh,
register
a smoker,
to vote
so I
at
can
home.
cook really quickly. Okay, for real?
Offices serving persons
Nice.
with disabilities often offer
Okay, and I can read
specialized
while this cooks.
assistance in completing the agency service or benefit application forms, and
Is it?
Section
Oh, it does
7
keep cooking while I play. Okay.
ES within
Um,
that state.
State-funded programs primarily engage in providing services to persons with disabilities. Why are they talking about that exactly? Any office in a covered state that provides public assistance or state-funded programs primarily engaged in providing services to people with disabilities must offer voter registration services. Yes, every office should offer a place to freaking get registered to vote. I don't care. Like, all of them should. That's common sense. But this says that currently in the U.S. that if you get SNAP or have disabilities and you're going to an office that does those things, those places can provide voter registration services. Cool. Okay, I actually did not know that those places could do that. I now know that.
A list of such offices for each state is available at http://www.napas.org/aboutus/pa_cap.htm. Section 7 also requires that if an office provides services to a person with disabilities at the person's home, the office must provide the opportunity to register to vote at home. Offices serving persons with disabilities often offer specialized assistance in completing the agency service or benefit application forms, and Section 7 requires such
additional
offices
help
to
for
offer
people with
voter
disabilities to get
registration
registered to vote.
applicants the same degree of assistance in completing voter registration forms as is offered in completing the agency's own application forms. Does Section 7 require designation of other offices as voter registration agencies? Yes. In addition to offices providing public assistance and services to persons with disabilities, states are also required by Section 7 to designate other offices within a state as voter registration agencies. A state is free to determine which other agencies/offices should be designated,
other places get to also help with voting.
But it must make additional designations. Such other agency
but every state must
may
mention
state
other
or
places.
local government offices such as
public libraries. That's
public
common
schools,
sense. Does this make sense?
Universities and community
Colleges, universities, all
city
these
and county
make sense.
clerks' offices, marriage license offices, fishing and
wow,
hunting
marriage
license
license
offices, government revenue offices, and unemployment compensation
IRS type
offices.
places.
Offices
Unemployment
not
offices.
otherwise covered under the NVRA that provide services to persons with disabilities may also be designated. In addition, with the agreement of such entities,
if this village has useful stuff, I might keep the run. But if not, I'm gonna dip and start a new world again.
Or federal government offices.
Food.
Do armed forces recruitment offices have to provide voter registration services? Yes. The NVRA provides that all federal armed forces recruitment offices in each state subject to the NVRA must provide voter registration services.
Is this the place I was at before? Am I just stupid?
Defense,
Oh, this
the
looks
Federal
different.
Voting Assistance Program, FVAP, maintains a website that contains information concerning voter registration at armed forces recruitment
I've definitely
offices.
not been here. A water bucket is huge, actually. That's actually huge.
www.fvap.gov/reference/laws
yeah, I actually will take
vote-reg
armor. Why not?
act.html and http://www.fvap.gov/reference/milinfo.html. What voter registration services must be made available? Each office designated as a voter registration agency under Section 7 that provides service or assistance in addition to conducting voter registration must do the following. Distribute voter registration application forms. Provide an information form that contains information on the voter registration process. See question 21 below for a description of the information form. Provide the same level of assistance to all applicants in completing voter registration application forms as is provided with respect to every other service or application for benefits,
unfinished
unless
portal
the
next to the
specifically
village.
refuses such assistance.
This might be
Accept
viable.
completed voter registration forms
This might
from
actually be
applicants,
viable. This
and
is a lot.
transmit each completed
Oh,
voter
it's
registration
freaking horizontal.
application to
Is
the
that even an
appropriate state
option?
election
I don't think
official
so.
within a prescribed
But there's
time
so
frame.
much obsidian here.
What persons must be provided the opportunity
I'm gonna
to
do it. I'm
register
gonna do
to
it.
vote
I'm
by
gonna. Oh
Section
no.
7 designated offices
I'm gonna do it.
and
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna
agencies.
try to. I'm gonna try to do this run.
Designated
quick.
agencies must provide the opportunity to register to vote to persons when
Look, and I
1.
already have a water
applying for
bucket.
the agency's
Let me get some
assistance
gear
or
set up.
services,
We're gonna
2.
make ourselves a nice
seeking
water elevator up to this
recertification
house.
or renewal of those services, and 3.
Okay.
Changing address for the assistance or
All right, let's
services.
think. Let's think with our brain.
What does Section 7 require with
Let's smoke a
regard
bunch
to
of food.
distribution of voter registration forms and information forms?
Okay. Well, while we
Each
smoke some
office
food.
designated under Section 7 that provides services
go.
or assistance must distribute to each applicant for services or assistance, and each
Let's go get a
applicant for
bunch of these.
recertification, renewal, or change of address with respect to such services or assistance, one of the voter registration application forms described in question 20 below. In addition,
Get a
each
bunch of
such
bread.
office also must distribute to each applicant a form, known as an information form, described in question 21 below. What types of voter registration forms can be distributed to applicants? Section 7 agencies must distribute one of the 3 voter registration forms listed below. National Mail Voter Registration Form. The agency may use this federal form, which has been developed by the U.S. Election Assistance
yoink out of bed real
Commission.
quick.
This form is available on the
Thank you, honestly.
EAC's website at http://www.eac.gov/program-areas/national-voter-registration-form. In addition to containing a voter registration application, this document
Lists the specific requirements for each state. I don't know why it stopped reading. Hey, we're gonna close it for a sec, restart it like right here, and read aloud. Do it.
State Mail Voter
Okay, back to it.
Registration Form. The agency may use its State Mail Voter Registration Form, so long as it meets the requirements of Section 9 of the NVRA.
So states can
This
reuse
state
the form
would
that they
not be
use
as lengthy as
for
the
registering to
federal
vote
form,
in their
which
state.
contains information about voter registration in each state. Such a form should be easier for applicants to navigate and easier for agencies and election officials to process.
Okay, interesting.
Designated agency's own form. The agency also may use its own version of a voter registration form, if it is equivalent to the federal form and has been approved by the state. This type of form
can
may
burn
lead
wool, I
to
didn't
more
know that.
efficient voter registration
Until right now.
transactions at
not
designated
know that.
agencies that provide services or assistance, since it could be made a seamless part of the forms normally used by the designated agency.
Okay, make it so
As an
you
example,
can use
where agency
reuse most of the
assistance
state form
/services
for the
forms
federal
are
form.
generated by computer during the process of interviewing the applicant. The voter registration form likewise might be generated during this same process, pre-populated with information already provided by the applicant. Or a perforated voter registration application might be attached at the bottom of a
Perforated.
state services form, so
What
that
do
it
you mean
can
by
be
that?
easily completed, detached, and
Okay,
transmitted to the appropriate election official.
We've got an interesting spot down
What
there.
is the information form, and
I
what
see
should
magma
states put on
blocks,
it?
not magma blocks. Yeah, I think it's
Section 7 requires that designated offices provide each applicant for services or assistance an information form containing
Okay, what do I
specific
need now?
information
I need a bunch of
concerning the
stone if I can
individual's
get it.
opportunity to
just doing some
register to
basic
vote.
stuff.
This form, which may be part of or separate from the voter registration form, must include the following information. No information relating to a declination to register to vote may be used for any purpose other than voter registration. If the information form is separate from the voter registration form, it is recommended that a statement regarding this non-use of declination information be included on
If
the
you
voter
decline to
registration
register to
form,
vote,
as well
no
as a
one should have
statement that
access
if
to
the
it.
applicant registers to vote, information submitted will be used only for voter,
For voter
registration
registration purposes. So the information you give is only
The
supposed to be
question,
used
If you are not registered to vote where you live now, would you like to apply to register to vote here
here
today?
today.
If the agency provides public assistance, the statement, applying to register or declining to register to vote will
Okay,
not
so if you're
affect the
applying
amount
for
of
other government
assistance that you will
programs,
be
you can go,
provided
oh,
by
hey,
this
bed.
agency.
Nice to see you. Sorry.
Boxes
As
for
we
the
know, I'm always
applicant
bad at
check to
checking,
indicate whether
chat
the
while
applicant would like to
playing.
register to vote or declines to register to vote, together with the statement, in close proximity to the boxes and in prominent
Can this guy
type.
go away?
If you do not check either, you will be considered TO have decided not TO register to vote at this time. Failure to check either box is deemed a declination to register for purposes of receiving assistance in registration but is not deemed a written declination to receive an application.
You're not declining to receive an
Statement,
application.
If you would
You're
like help in
declining
filling out the
to.
voter registration application form, we will help you. The decision whether to seek or accept help is yours.
Is yours.
You may fill out the application form in
Form in
private.
private.
And the statement, if you believe that someone has interfered with your right to register or to
vote.
decline to register to vote,
Oh, interesting.
your right to privacy in deciding whether
Wow,
to
I need to
register
get a
or in
new
applying
register to vote
register
application
vote,
and read
or
through
your
it
right
sometime.
to choose your own political party or other political preference. You may file a complaint with _______ dot. The blank should be filled by the name, address, and telephone number of the appropriate official to whom such a
Okay, I'm gonna make a
complaint
bunch
should
of
be
charcoal.
addressed. Are Section 7 agencies required to assist persons in completing a voter registration application?
Does Section 7 just mean government assistance?
Yes.
Like in
Section
general?
7 agencies must provide to each applicant the same degree of assistance in completing the voter registration application form as is provided by the office in
All right,
completing
so
its
we'll
own
take like
agency
half the
forms,
stack and use
unless
half the
the
stack to
applicant
make
declines to
more coal,
register
I
to
guess.
vote or declines such assistance.
Charcoal.
As an example, if it is the
Okay, in the
practice of a Section
meantime,
7
I should really get
agency
off my
for its
butt and just
employees
make
to
a
take
chest,
time to explain to each applicant
which
the
I will
various
need
forms
the wood
involved
for.
in the
Okay.
agency application, recertification, or other process and
Let's make
answer
a chest.
applicant questions before the applicant completes the forms.
Or two.
This
Probably-
type of
probably gonna need
assistance
two.
must also be given at that time to such applicants with regard to the voter registration
Let's get all
application
this crap out of my
process.
gear. Okay.
Similarly, if it is
I don't know why I'm
agency
just not
practice
using
to
the
make
house
sure that
next to
agency
me.
forms are
Why am I not
completed and
just using?
signed
Well,
and
because there's a
submitted by
giant
an
gap
applicant,
underneath it.
the same practice should apply to a voter registration
Should
application
probably build this
submitted
house
by
out of
that
cobblestone
applicant.
real quick.
Offices serving persons with disabilities
cobblestone,
often offer
stone pickaxe.
specialized
Let's go get more
assistance in
cobblestone,
completing
some
the
food.
agency service or benefit application forms. Section 7 requires such offices
Okay,
to
I know
offer
what
voter
Section 7
registration
housing is. I
applicants
know
the
what that
same
is.
degree of assistance in completing voter registration
Didn't know Section
forms
7
as
was
is
more
offered
general
in
than that.
completing the agency's own application forms. Does Section 7 put any restrictions on how office staff may interact with applicants? Yes. Any person who provides voter registration services at a Section 7 agency
Anyone
is
who helps you
prohibited
vote,
from,
register to
1,
vote, is
seeking
not allowed
influence
to
an applicant's
influence your political
preference or party
preference.
registration, 2, displaying any political preference or party allegiance, 3,
Can't even
taking
display it
any action
if you're
or
helping.
making any statement to an applicant to discourage the applicant from registering to vote, or 4,
You cannot
taking
try to
any
discourage
action
them
or
from it.
making any statement that may lead the applicant to believe that a decision to register or not to register has any bearing on the availability of services or
Ooh, okay.
benefits.
These are all
Do the
common
voter
sense things. I like
registration
that.
requirements of Section 7 of the NVRA apply to all application, renewal, recertification, and change of address transactions with designated offices? Yes. The NVRA requires that voter registration opportunities be provided with respect to all application, renewal, recertification, and change of address transactions regarding
get out of here.
service and assistance with Section 7 offices. Many Section 7 designated agencies/offices routinely provide services/assistance such as application for, or renewal of, services or change of address notification through the Internet, by telephone, or by mail. States should ensure the availability of voter registration opportunities to individuals using such remote service/assistance opportunities from designated agencies. Thus, for all such Internet transactions, states should advise of the opportunity to register to vote, and should provide some online capability to download or request a voter registration form. For phone transactions, designated agency personnel should advise applicants of the opportunity to register to vote
get out of
and
my
to request
way!
a voter registration form.
Okay.
Materials sent by
Genuinely
mail to individuals
tweaking out over
completing
this.
phone or internet transactions, such as statements
Bro, you're about
confirming
to be
a phone
stuck in this
transaction,
house and it's
or
your
renewal
fault.
Or change of address forms,
I don't even want you
should
in
contain
here.
a voter registration form. In all such internet, phone, and mail transactions, individuals should be given a toll-free phone number, where possible, to call for information and instruction on how to complete the voter registration process. Where feasible, as is done at many
do I make
motor
this guy
vehicle
go away?
agencies, states may consider
Housing
providing
is
for a
Section 8.
simultaneous
Section
voter
8 is
registration
housing, and then
opportunity
other
through the
assistance is
electronic
Section
portal when
7.
individuals
Right.
apply for services or assistance at a designated agency by that means.
It's crazy that like you can grow up in this sort of stuff and never really learn
agencies may consider
what the
assisting
language is for it.
applicant in
I guess that's
registering
why
to
I'm
vote by
I guess that's why I'm doing this
automatically filling in
challenge.
appropriate fields on voter
I
registration
can go my whole life
applications
being
with
around this sort of
information
stuff and never
previously
actually learning what the
provided by
frickin' words are
applicant
for
in
it.
order to make the registration
Entirely
process
on me,
easier
but-
and more efficient. When upgrading technology related to the application/recertification/change of
Okay,
address
let's make
process
some,
at Section 7
make
agencies,
some torches,
states should ensure
friends.
that such upgrade includes the voter registration process.
Torch time.
When a state
torch
contracts with a
time.
private entity to administer
I've got
services
that, I've
in
got
an
that. The only thing I
agency
don't
that
have is a place
required
for the
to
bed.
offer voter registration, the
I'm gonna put it
ultimate
right there.
responsibility
Cool.
for
Respawn
ensuring
point set. Let's
provision
do
of
it.
voter registration services
Okay, I've got a
remains
smoker.
with the state, and the
Got
voter
that. I've got some
registration
basic food. I've got
requirements
some
under
bread.
the
I've got some
NVRA
hay bales so I
remain
can
the
turn
same.
into some bread real quick.
What is a Section 7 agency required to do with
Okay,
completed
now it's
voter
mentioning
registration
Section 7
applications
agencies.
accepted at its offices? The designated agency must submit the completed voter registration application to the appropriate state or local election official within a prescribed period of time unless the applicant desires to submit it himself or herself. The agency providing voter
Okay,
registration
what do I need to
services
take with
may
me
not
before I jump
require a
down into
registrant
these
to mail in the form
horrifying
himself
depths?
or herself or discourage him or her in any manner from submitting the form to
Pickaxe.
the agency. When an applicant submits a completed voter
wood.
registration application to an agency, the agency must transmit
some
the
food
form
on
to
me?
the appropriate state or local election official within 10 days.
Torches
However,
are good. Food
if the
is
agency
good.
receives a completed voter registration
will help.
application within 5 days before the last day to
Mountain
register to
coal.
vote in an
No,
election,
I should take
the
coal,
application
actually.
must be
And I should probably
transmitted to the
take
appropriate state or
this
local election
furnace
official within 5
with me.
days. Section 8,
What else should I take with me? I'm
Administration
not really
of
sure
Voter
what.
Registration. What does Section 8 of the NVRA
Man,
require
I'm not locked
states
in.
to
It's
do?
been so long since I've
Section
done
8
these runs.
mandates certain action by
do
states
it.
concerning the administration of voter registration for
We're jumping.
elections for federal office.
Ooh,
These requirements
Ooh.
involve important
Oh, look,
issues
iron.
such
Good
as
stuff.
the date by which
We're already
valid
getting
voter
it.
registration applications must be accepted and eligible persons
that
registered.
is the sound of a
Rules for
zombie.
changing
Took
a
30
registrant's address
milliseconds for a zombie to find me.
rules for
Great.
removing names
Love
from the
that.
voter registration list, and administration of a uniform,
Genuinely, how did that take so
non-discriminatory
little
voter
time for one to find
registration
me?
list maintenance program that complies with the Voting Rights Act. Does Section 8 impose a time deadline on states for accepting voter registration applications
Okay,
and
I'm
registering
genuinely
eligible
just looking for
applicants?
diamonds at full speed.
Yes. States must
Or
set a voter
enough iron to
registration
make a
cutoff for
bucket
federal elections
and
of no
use some
more
of the
than 30
lava
days
from
before
the other
election.
place to build a portal.
A
I don't know
valid
if I
voter
can.
registration application from
I
an
don't know if there was
eligible
enough to
applicant
build
is
a
considered
good
timely,
portal.
and the state has to ensure that the applicant is
there a
registered
tree down
to
here,
vote
bro?
if it is 1.
I think
submitted
I'll need
not later than the lesser of 30 days, or
redstone.
the
No, I
period
need flint
provided by
to make
state law,
flint and steel,
before the
duh.
date of a federal election to a driver's
Idiot.
license office, designated public assistance or disability office,
'Kay.
other designated office, or an
Okay, I
appropriate
hear a
state or
skeleton
local
coming for me
election
at full speed
official,
right
or
now.
2,
Yep, there it
postmarked
is.
not later
Let's
than
see
the lesser
how
of
this
30
goes. Where's he at? Oh,
days,
now they're hitting
or
each
the
other.
period
Good.
provided
That's a
by
good outcome.
state law, before a federal election
Good
when
outcome.
submitted by mail. States can set a voter registration deadline for federal elections shorter than 30
God,
days,
this guy's
and
killing
a
me. I'm
number of
gonna
states
die.
do so, but cannot set a longer deadline.
Lock in, lock in.
Are states required to let an applicant know what has happened to his or her application? Yes.
Is that gold?
Section 8 requires state election officials to notify each applicant of the disposition of his or her
Okay, we should build a
registration
place to
application,
hide
e.g.,
as this stuff
a
is
voter
happening.
registration card if the application is accepted or a notice of rejection
Let's
if
eat.
the application is not accepted.
Okay, I've got 3
Where a
iron on
notice
me.
of
That's enough to make an
disposition
iron
for a
axe. I'm
mail
going to do
voter
that now.
registration application is sent by non-forwardable mail and returned as
Not that
undeliverable.
way, dum-dum.
Section 6 of the
This way.
NVRA provides
Thank
that
you.
local election officials
'Kay.
may proceed in
making
accordance with
some
the
iron.
provisions of Section 8D of the NVRA. See question 35 below. Under the NVRA, what are the circumstances under which a state can remove a person's name from the voter registration rolls? Section 8 permits states to remove the name of a person from the voter registration rolls upon the request of the registrant, and, if state law so provides, for mental incapacity or for
Cool.
criminal conviction. The Act also requires states to conduct a general voter registration list maintenance program that makes a reasonable effort to remove ineligible persons from the voter rolls by reason
Wait,
of the
that's
person's
definitely
death,
interesting. What did
or
they
a
just
change
say?
in the residence of the registrant outside of the jurisdiction, in accordance with procedures set forth in the NVRA. The list maintenance program must be uniform, non-discriminatory, and in compliance with the Voting Rights Act. Does the NVRA contain any prohibitions on
Okay,
removal
iron
of
axe.
persons' names
Big
from
upgrade.
the voter registration list? Yes.
Iron pickaxe. Good stuff.
Section 8 of the NVRA prohibits removing registrants from the voter registration list
Okay, I
solely
need more
because of a
food.
failure to vote. It also places restrictions of notice and timing on removals from the
Ooh,
voter
okay.
registration list based
should
on a
really
change
make
of
a,
residence. What is removal at the
I forget the
request
other
of the
thing I need to
registrant
make.
under Section 8? Removal at the request of the registrant under
Gold
the
is legit.
NVRA
Give me that.
involves
I'll
first-hand
need it later.
information from a registrant that can originate in at least 3 ways. 1. A registrant requesting
Removal
to
at the
remove his or her
request of
name from the
registrant.
voting registration list. 2. A registrant completing and returning a notice card indicating an address change outside the jurisdiction. Or 3.
Oh, okay.
A registrant submitting a new application registering
You
to
can
vote
be
a
like,
second time in
unregister
a
me
new
to vote.
jurisdiction, and providing information regarding the registrant's prior voter registration address on the new application.
Okay, so you
which
can
the
be like,
state
hey, I
can
don't live
treat
in the
as a
US anymore,
request to
take me off the
cancel
list.
or
Not that
transfer
anyone
his or her prior
is normally going to
registration.
do that, but whatever.
A registrant advising of a new address within the same
Okay,
jurisdiction.
I already need
or
more.
registering to vote a second time at a new address within the same
I already
jurisdiction
need more
should
freaking
trigger an updating of the original registration
torches than I
rather
got.
than its cancellation. Are there any required procedures in the
Am I playing
NVRA
on bright?
concerning removal of a person's name from the voter registration rolls for mental incapacity,
Brightness
criminal
bright. Yeah, I'm already
conviction,
playing
or
on
death?
bright, so
The NVRA does not require any particular
Okay, why is it
process
so
for removing
freaking
persons who have
dark
been
over there?
disqualified from voting pursuant to state law based upon a criminal conviction or
Can't
an
see anything over
adjudication
here.
of mental incapacity. Moreover, while the NVRA requires
Okay, was
states
that
to
more
make
iron?
reasonable
Yes.
efforts
Give
to
me it.
remove persons who have died, it does not require any particular process for doing so. States can
gotta
follow
make
whatever
sure
state
dead
law
people can't
process
vote.
exists for doing this.
Good.
Section
reasonable.
303A of HAVA adds an additional requirement for NVRA-covered
I
states
understand
to
the
coordinate
capacity for
statewide
people.
voter
Ooh, these are
registration
special
database
bricks,
with
aren't they?
state records on
Don't they mean
felony
something?
status and
No?
death.
Okay,
HAVA
guess not.
provides that list maintenance on the statewide database shall be done on a regular basis in accordance with the requirements of the NVRA.
Oh.
In those states where state law provides for removals from the voter rolls based on
Okay,
mental
I've already gone this
incapacity or
direction.
criminal conviction, state laws generally
So if you
provide
go
for election
insane
officials
or
to
you're
rely
a
on
super
court
felon,
determinations to identify the individuals who are
vote.
subject to removal. Section 8 of the NVRA also provides for
I'ma
the
be
U.S.
real, I
Attorney
think felons
offices
should be
to
able to
forward
vote.
information regarding
No
felony
joke.
criminal
I do.
convictions in federal courts to chief state election officials.
Crazy opinion, I know.
Under what circumstances
We live in an
does the
insane
NVRA
government that will
allow
label
states to
anything
remove a person
illegal
from
or
the voting
felonious?
rolls based on change of residence? A state may remove the name of a person from the voter registration list due to a change of residence upon 1. The person's written confirmation of a change of residence to a place outside the jurisdiction, or 2. Completion of the notice process described
Ooh,
in
I need
Section
coal. Give me
8D of the NVRA.
Ooh, it would suck
What
right
does
now
the
to have
NVRA
to
notice process
change
require to
worlds
remove
again.
a
I think
person
we're
from
pretty
the
much
voting
stuck
rolls
with
based
this
on a change
this
of
spawn,
residence?
this seed.
In the absence of a written
That's what you call it.
confirmation from a registrant of a change of address outside the jurisdiction, Section 8D
I mean, if I
of
can
the
just find
NVRA
diamonds, and I
sets
find
forth a
diamonds pretty
process
quickly
for removing a
sometimes.
person based on change of residence. This process requires sending a forwardable notice, in the form of a postage prepaid and pre-addressed return card, on which the person may state his or her current address.
Okay,
The
sure.
notice must include
20
the language
creepers, sure,
required
whatever.
by Section 8D
Be gone. Leave me alone.
of the
Thank you.
NVRA.
I'll take
For
the
example,
iron though.
the notice must advise, 1. That if the registrant did not change his or her residence, or changed
Okay,
residence but
I
remained
don't
in the
expect that the
registrar's
Save Act is
jurisdiction,
modifying
the
a lot of
registrant should
these
complete and return the
specific
card
things.
not
I have a
later
feeling
than
it's
the voter
modifying
registration deadline for the next
the
election.
rules for mail-in
2.
voting.
That if the card
He's
is
trying to
not
get rid of mail-in
returned,
voting, essentially.
affirmation or confirmation
And
of the registrant's address
again,
may
this
be
thing I keep
required
hearing
before
about
the
how
registrant is
women who
permitted to
haven't
vote
changed
in
their
a
last
federal
names
election during
would
the
have to get a
period
new
beginning
license
on
before
the
they're allowed to vote.
date of the notice and ending on the day after the date of the second general election for federal office
though
that
obviously
occurs
they're
after
the
the
same
date of the
human being.
notice, and
Okay,
3.
okay, listen, I've
that
got a
if
lot
the
of iron.
registrant does not vote in an election
I do not
during
need
the
iron right
period,
now.
the registrant's name will be removed from the list of
The
eligible
skeleton
voters.
hit me. Stop it.
The jurisdiction may
Stop,
designate
bro.
the
Literally,
registrant
just
as
stop.
inactive if the
Come on,
registrant
bro.
fails to
Stop.
return the card
Don't do
by the
this.
voter registration deadline for the next election after the notice is sent.
I guess technically I should be saving
The
arrows too.
jurisdiction may remove the registrant from the voter rolls after sending the notice in 2 circumstances. First, if the registrant confirms in writing,
can the
such as by
mobs just leave me
completing and
alone for like
returning
20
the notice
seconds?
card, that
Two
the
of you?
registrant has changed
Leave me
residence
alone.
to a place outside
No,
the
leave
jurisdiction,
me alone.
then the
Stop,
registrant can
stop,
be removed
stop,
from the list
stop,
immediately.
stop.
Second, if the
Stop.
registrant fails to
Oh my God, I
respond
almost
to the
died.
notice and fails to vote
This is
or
not
to
going
appear
well.
to vote in an election beginning on the date the notice is sent and ending on the day after the
Okay,
date
I
of the
probably
second
could have
federal
like full
general
iron by
election
now if
after
I
the
felt like
notice
it.
is sent,
I just
then
don't
the
need
registrant
to.
can be removed from the list after that second federal
I need our
general
items.
election. Does the NVRA create a safe harbor procedure under which states can satisfy their obligation to conduct a general program that makes a reasonable effort to remove the names of ineligible voters from the voter rolls due to a change of residence? Yes.
Okay, listen, I totally have
The
like enough iron
NVRA
right now.
gives one example of a safe harbor procedure.
And you know what? To avoid
Under that
inconveniencing
procedure,
myself, I'm gonna
states
go
may
back to my
utilize
little
change
spot,
of address
and I'm
information
gonna
supplied by the United States Postal
I'm gonna
Service
get
through
myself
its
the stuff
National
I
Change
need.
of Address Program (NCOA) to identify registrants who may have changed residences and then
It's a
take
lot
one
of water
two
right there.
actions.
Okay.
If it appears from the NCOA information that the person has moved to a different residence in the same registrar's jurisdiction, the registrar changes the registration records to show the new address and sends the registrant a notice of the change by forwardable
Okay,
mail
yeah,
and
I
a
do have
postage
enough for
prepaid,
full
pre-addressed
iron at
return
this
form
point.
by which the registrant
Good
may
stuff.
verify or correct the address
Okay, in the
information.
meantime, what can I do that's
If it
useful
appears
other
that
than
the
like just kind
registrant
of
has
go over
moved
there
to a
and light things
residence
up, I
outside
guess.
the registrar's jurisdiction, the registrar uses the NVRA's Section 8
I genuinely cannot
notice
see anything.
process and
Oh
may
my
remove
god.
the registrant from the voter rolls after
Please stop.
satisfying all requirements of that
Stop.
process.
Stop.
Do
Stop,
states
stop.
have to use the NCOA process to initiate the notice process?
Oh
No.
my god.
States do not have to use the NCOA process. Under the NVRA, states must have a general program that makes a reasonable effort to identify and remove the names of voters who have become ineligible to vote by means of a change of address.
Can I just break this
The
axe?
program has to be uniform,
I really don't need it.
non-discriminatory, in compliance with the Voting
Frankly, I'd
Rights
like to get
Act
rid of
and
it.
must be completed 90 days before a
I
federal
really should have
election.
made a chest or something.
States
which I
otherwise
may
have
just
discretion
right
under the
here real quick.
NVRA and HAVA in how they design their general
I'm gonna
program,
run out of wood
and
though.
states
soon.
currently undertake a variety
Oh my
of
god, I'm an
approaches to
idiot.
how they
Why
initiate
did I
the
make a
notice
crafting table?
process. For example, some general programs involve a state undertaking
Here.
a uniform mailing of a voter registration card, sample
go.
ballot,
Cool, get this
or
crap
other
out of my way.
election mailing to all voters in a
That's useful.
jurisdiction, and then using
Over
information
there.
obtained from returned non-deliverable mail
Where's
as the
useful?
basis for correcting
Get that
voter
away.
registration records, for apparent moves within a jurisdiction, or for initiating the notice process. For apparent moves outside a jurisdiction
I
or
should have made way
non-deliverable
more,
mail with no
way
forwarding
more
address
torches than I
noted.
did.
Another example involves general programs where states initiate the notice process based on information showing
my
that a
God, don't
voter
do
has
this.
not voted in
Give
elections
me
nor made
pants.
contact with a registrar over
Pants?
some period of time.
Wonderful.
This is not prohibited by the
Turning
NVRA
off both
and
of
its
these,
bar
they're
on
useless.
removing voters from the list solely for failure
Give
to
me more
vote,
iron.
since it
More
relies
quick,
on the
please.
NVRA notice process, and thus
A bucket will
utilizes
be
both
useful.
a
I'll
notice
make a
and a
bucket.
waiting period of 2 federal general elections.
And next
Does Section
an iron
8
axe.
impose any time restrictions on states as to when a general list maintenance program can be conducted? Yes. Section 8 requires states to complete
Come
any
on.
program the
Right,
purpose of
axe.
which is to systematically remove the names of ineligible voters from the
Okay, I can
official
now
list
fight
of
pretty
eligible
well.
voters not later than 90 days
And
prior to the
then
date of a primary
a,
election or general election for
shield.
federal office. This 90-day deadline applies to state list maintenance verification activities
Alright, I
such as
think we
general
are-
mailings
we're
and
rolling
door-to-door
for the time being.
canvasses. This 90-day deadline
I just need to
does
find
not,
diamonds.
However, preclude removal of names at the
I
request
think
of
we're
the
going that
registrant,
route. We're not going
removal
the
due to
find a
death
lawful
of the
pull route. We're
registrant,
going the find
removal
diamonds
due
as soon
to
as
criminal
possible route.
conviction or mental incapacity of the registrant as provided by state law, nor does the deadline
Cool.
preclude correction of a
That's
registrant's
fun.
information.
What's
Are
up,
there
glow
any
squids? How
protections
dare
in
you
the
hit a
NVRA
glow
for those
squid, you
eligible
absolute
registered voters
jerk.
who have changed address to another location within a registrar's
I don't know, I'm
jurisdiction,
starting to think
or
maybe
are
this,
otherwise on
this
an
shaft
inactive
isn't
voter
actually deep
list,
enough.
but have not notified
find
the
diamonds
registrar
at a
prior
moderate
to the
pace.
date of a federal election? Yes. The NVRA contains fail-safe provisions to enable such. A central voting
it's
location
too
need
dark.
not be made available by
This
the
place goes
registrar if
deep
state
with the
law
amount of water
allows
it
the
has,
person
though.
to vote at either the old or new polling place in the current election upon
Ooh,
oral
what is
or
this?
written affirmation of the address change.
Okay, let's get it. This is viable. And again, it's broken. Let me see if it gets stuck on the same place or
Arrow
not.
election day to update their registration and to vote.
Oh,
in
sure,
an
this doesn't
election
look
even though they have not
extremely
notified
sketchy
the
and
registrar of
dangerous.
the address change. A
Crap.
central
I
voting
want
location
I want
need
all
not
that
be
iron
made
armor
available
before I
by
do
the
this.
registrar if state law allows the person
see
to
any
vote
diamonds
at
down
either
here?
the old
No?
or new polling
No
place in
diamonds?
the current election upon oral
There's
or
literally
written
enough
affirmation of the
obsidian
address
in that
change.
portal. Up
The
top.
fail-safe provisions of Section 8 draw a distinction between the registrant's need for affirmation or confirmation of a new address, depending
try it
upon
again.
the circumstances in which the fail-safe voting
I hear a
occurs.
water zombie. That is not a good
An
thing for
eligible
me. That
registered
is a
voter
bad
who has
thing.
moved to an address in an area covered by the same polling place as his or her previous address is permitted to
Okay,
vote at
how
that same
much
polling place
armor
upon
can I
oral
make
or
at this
written
point?
affirmation by the registrant of the change of address at the polling place. An eligible registered voter
More.
who has
I
moved
need
to an address in
significantly
an
more,
area
in my
covered by a
opinion.
different polling place from the polling
And
place for
there
his
is
or her
more iron out
previous
there. I
address
just
but within the same registrar's jurisdiction and the
5.
same congressional district, at the
And then
option
I
of the
need shoes.
registrant.
I don't know if I have enough for shoes.
Shall be permitted to correct the voting records and vote at the old polling place upon oral or written affirmation by the registrant of the new address before an election official at that polling place.
I do not have
Or
enough to make shoes.
shall be
But I do have
permitted
enough to make a
correct the
sword. I
voting
don't know why I
records
would
and
make a
vote
sword
at
right now. I'm just
designated
going to take what
central
I've got and
location
keep
within
moving
the same registrar's
deeper into
jurisdiction
the
upon written
area.
affirmation by the registrant of the new address on a standard
what is
form
useful?
provided by the registrar.
Gold is
Or
useful. Arrows are useful. Bones
shall
are
be
useful.
permitted to correct the voting
Nothing else
records
here is
for
useful to me.
purposes of future elections at the
Stone,
new
I
polling
guess,
place,
is useful.
and shall be permitted vote in the current election at that polling place if allowed under state law,
I'll
upon
take
confirmation
this.
by the registrant of the new address by such means as are required
Okay,
by
take
law.
the coal. Take this.
What if a mistake
and
has
then we're
been
going.
made, and registration records indicate that a person
Okay,
has
let's eat.
moved from an address covered by a polling place when that
we're
person has
balling.
in fact not
We're
moved?
balling at full speed right now.
If a person has not
Get me out
moved,
of here.
but the registration records indicate that a person has moved from an address covered by a polling place, that
Okay, we're heading
person
over
shall
there.
be permitted to vote at that polling place upon oral or written affirmation by the registrant that the registrant continues to reside at his or her address previously known to the registrar. Are states required to keep records of their voter registration activities under the NVRA?
National Voter
Yes.
Registration Act?
Section 8 of the
1993?
NVRA requires that states keep and make available for public inspection.
What is this wonderful comment? Dems are 85% favorites to win the House on poly market. I don't go out of my way to think deeply about poly market, but yeah, Dems are probably going to absolutely destroy the Republicans in the midterms. I've been proven wrong before, though, so, you know. Been wrong before. A couple of times. Okay, this is going to have to be where we drop in. Let's get it. Ooh, ooh, no! Okay, okay. Not optimal. Suboptimal, but we have options. We have options. I don't know if this is an unbased opinion, but I personally absolutely despise poly market because I teach high schoolers, and I am actively watching as an entire generation of mostly young men, unfortunately, but you know, bad for everyone generally. But I'm currently watching an entire generation of young men develop a gambling addiction because of poly market and the fact that they are subverting its limits and gaining access to poly market as minors. So unfortunately, I hate poly market because I'm watching them all develop like gambling addictions
Inspection
live.
for a period of at least 2 years,
And,
all
that
records
hurts.
concerning the
I
implementation
do not like
of
watching that
programs
for
and activities conducted for the purpose of ensuring the accuracy
my
and currency
boys,
of official lists of
the
eligible
young men of the
voters,
world.
except to the extent that such records relate to a declination to register to vote or to the identity of a voter
Oh my
registration
god, I can
agency
see
through which any
nothing right now. It
particular
is so
voter
hard
is
to see
registered.
because I
The
have my
records
light
to be
turned
kept
up so
shall
much. You know
include
what?
lists of the names and addresses of all
I'm gonna save
persons to
Chris's
whom
title
Section
real quick. I'm turning my
8D
light down.
notices are sent, and information concerning whether or not each such person has
Oh, yeah.
responded to the notice,
Yeah.
as of the date that
How much
inspection
darker
of
am
the
I?
records
Like way
is
darker,
made.
probably.
In addition, an independent requirement in
I am.
52
I don't
USC
care. I'm leaving it that way.
20701 mandates that all records and papers relating
Okay,
to
back
any
to the game.
application, registration, or other act requisite to voting in any election for federal office
this is the world
be
we're in, right?
preserved for a period of 22 months from that federal election.
Okay, here we are. So,
Since
back
voter
to it.
registration
What are
is
we looking for?
unitary
We're looking
and
for
permanent,
diamonds.
this obligation is ongoing.
We're looking to not
such that
die.
registration records must be preserved as long
And
as the voter
unfortunately, we're looking to
registration
not
to
get
which they
lost, which
pertain
is going
considered
to
an
be
active
really
one under
hard.
local law and
Diamonds! Let's
practice,
get it!
and those records cannot be
I
disposed
did
of
not
until the expiration of 22
bring another water
months
bucket.
following the
I'm gonna have
date
to
on
get
which
down
the
there and not die on my
registration
own.
ceased to be active.
Huge.
Hence,
This is huge.
states
This is
should
like
maintain all
massively
written records
incomprehensibly
related
big.
to applications to
3.
register to
That's
vote
all I
as
needed.
well as
That's
declinations
all
to
I
register
needed.
to vote.
Do I
The
play
Department of Justice
around
can
and try to
require
find
that
more?
such records be produced for
I don't think
inspection
so.
and copying
I think
through
I'm
a
getting the
written
hell out of
demand,
here.
and a lawsuit to enforce
Yeah, I'm already
such
hearing
demand.
enemies coming my way. I need to get out of here.
Coordination, reporting,
up
and enforcement.
3,000% dead. Yep, here we go. Okay.
What are the
yep.
state's
already trying to
obligations
kill
to
me. I just found
coordinate voter
diamonds.
registration activities?
1, 2,
The state is responsible
here.
for ensuring
Alright, I know what direction to
compliance
go.
with the NVRA.
That's huge. That
The
alone is huge.
NVRA requires each state to designate a state officer or employee as the chief state election official to be responsible for coordinating state responsibilities under the Act.
Let's go, go, go.
Because of the importance of monitoring compliance with
Nope,
the
don't
NVRA's
even go
voter
in here. If I do
registration
that, I'm going to get
requirements,
lost.
states should consider
Staying out in the
employing a
open
person
because
at the
that's where I
state level to
started, out
serve
in
as
the
the
open.
NVRA coordinator for the state. This person could be responsible for coordinating and overseeing all
Okay, let's see.
NVRA activity at designated voter
clearly that was my
registration
previous
agencies
path.
/ offices in the state. In addition,
That is my old path.
states may
I see it.
consider employing a person at each
Oh, that didn't
designated
work.
voter
Right.
registration agency,
Okay, we have
and at
diamonds.
each designated agency office,
We're going up this.
whose ongoing responsibility would be coordinating and overseeing the conduct of all voter registration activities in that agency / office. This person's responsibilities could include ensuring that the voter registration responsibilities are carried out,
Okay, now it's just
ensuring
talking
that
about
the
having
voter
a person
registration
oversee
system
things.
is administered
what their
in a
job
uniform
is.
and non-discriminatory manner, reviewing monthly data of voter registration activity at voter registration offices,
Can this
monitoring
damn
voter registration
skeleton leave me alone?
activities, training new employees and providing for training updates at periodic intervals, ensuring an adequate supply of
Okay,
forms,
just talking
and
about a
resolving
dude whose
voter
job is to take
registration.
care of things. Wonderful.
Coordination issues that arise between
Alright,
state
let's grab
and
a
local
water
officials.
bucket while we're down here.
Are states required
Again,
to
we have
report
3
on their
diamonds, which
NVRA
is the
voter
number that we need.
registration and list maintenance
And we're
efforts?
climbing. We're going up right now.
Yes.
Hopefully knockback doesn't knock
States
me out
must
of this
report various
waterfall and
voter
kill me.
registration information
my
to the
entire
U.S.
life.
Election Assistance Commission, EAC, in response to the EAC survey every
I'm
2
gonna run out
years.
of water soon, aren't
This
I?
includes the number of voter registration applications
Ooh,
by
I'm
mail
smooth
and from
with it
motor
right now.
vehicle
Let's get it.
offices, public assistance offices, offices providing state-funded programs primarily serving persons
Wow,
with
progress,
disabilities,
progress.
armed
We're
forces
doing pretty good for a
recruitment
run right now.
offices, and other state-designated offices
We're
and
doing like okay.
agencies. Likewise, states must report voter registration list maintenance
more wood.
information in response to the EAC survey every 2 years. These biennial NVRA reports are available on the EAC website at the following link, http://www.eac.gov/program-areas/research-completed-research-reports National Voter Registration Act Studies.
Okay. All right, let's do the most important thing and make a diamond pickaxe. And the reading thing stopped again. Wonderful. Diamond pickaxe made. Let's get our crap organized. I'm just putting everything away, and then I'm going to put everything in a different order that I like more. Okay, so we're going to take the axe. I'm going to put a chunk of our food right here. There's our axe for fighting. And a water bucket. We will get a lava bucket in a moment. And for some reason, it once again broke. I am not sure why, but we're going to jump to here. Oh, there we go. Cool. More tools. Keep reading aloud. Thank you.
Of voter
Wonderful.
registration applications from each designated voter
Let's get it.
registration agency.
Oh, it's nighttime. Almost.
Barcodes
Can I go
or
to
other
sleep?
coding could be
Now, come
included
on.
on
It's
voter
pretty much
registration
nighttime.
applications
But
to
can you go
designate
away?
the agency from
Why do you
which
try
the
to go in
form
my house?
originated.
You're
Such
inconvenient.
coding can be implemented in such a way that also allows states to comply with the obligation not to disclose the office at which
Come on,
any
game.
particular
Look,
individual
the portal's
has
right
registered
there.
to
It's
vote.
so beautiful.
For jurisdictions
It's
covered
so
by the
viable.
language
That's the
minority
exciting
provisions
part.
of the
Is it's
Voting
like
Rights
pretty
Act,
viable.
what obligations do such
If I can remember
jurisdictions
how to
have to
make a portal
ensure voter
quickly.
registration access under the NVRA to
Oh,
cover
you're trying to
limited
sleep
English
in my bed.
proficient
Is that so?
citizens?
Huh. You know, I have some
Certain
strong
states
thoughts on
and
that
local
concept.
jurisdictions are covered
Get
by
on
the
my bed.
language minority requirements of the Voting Rights Act, VRA, for specific language minority groups. The VRA requires that when
what
covered
am I doing
states and
now?
jurisdictions provide voter registration
best,
or
I
voting
guess.
notices,
Okay,
forms,
we're gonna go over here.
instructions, assistance, or other materials or information relating to the electoral
We're gonna use
process,
this portal.
including ballots, they must provide them in the language of the applicable minority group as well as in the English language. The
What is the
NVRA
best route
provides
here?
that its requirements do not supersede, restrict, or limit the application of the requirements
I
of the
think
VRA.
I see the best route currently.
Thus, each state or jurisdiction
We're gonna
covered
get
by the
rid of
language minority
every one of those
requirements
that
of
we
the
can.
VRA should consider how to ensure that NVRA voter registration opportunities are conducted so as
Then,
to provide language access
we're
to
gonna make
cover
the
limited
best
English
use of
proficient language minority
material we
citizens
already
so that they have
have. So I'm
equal
gonna
access to the
use-
voter registration process.
How Probably know
To
that.
assist
I'm fine
covered
with
states
using-
and jurisdictions, extensive information
Jurisdiction, I
regarding the
guess.
language minority requirements is available on the voting section's website here. Various language resources are also
So just-
available
it's
on the
important to make sure that
EAC website.
all voting stuff.
These
can have
include
lots of,
versions of the National Male Voter Registration Form
lots of
translated
places
into Spanish,
to translate
Chinese,
how to get registered.
Japanese, Korean, Tagalog,
Does leaf
and
litter go away?
Vietnamese, among others.
Tagalog?
https://www.eac.gov/voters/national-male-voter-registration
what do I need to do right here? I need to do
registration-form
a
links to other
lava
government
and
and
then
non-government
water?
sites will
Oh my
typically
goodness.
appear with the external link
I already
icon.
screwed up once. That's fine. I do that most of the time. So I need to fill this in. It has now screwed up once again. Okay, I need to grab... Ah, yeah. Okay, I've made that mistake several times now, it seems. I'm going to screw this up so bad. That's why I have a diamond pickaxe. Now I need to put a lava block there and then a water block there. Lava block, water block. Okay? Yes! Yes, I remember things. Lava block, water block. Wonderful. Lava block. Okay. We're getting it, we're getting it. See, now I gotta make sure it finishes reading it. And I just accidentally opened up the National Male Voter Registration Form. Read aloud, please stop screwing up. What agency is responsible for the enforcement of NVRA? Hey, that seems kind of relevant.
Hat agency is
Andrea.
responsible for enforcement of the NVRA. The U.S. Department of Justice has enforcement
Look at me, I've gotten
responsibility
pretty good
under
at the game,
NVRA.
haven't I?
The department
good. I know how to
undertakes
make
activities
portals quickly
designed
now.
to ensure compliance with the NVRA, including monitoring state
Pretty
compliance,
good at the game, I'd
conducting
say.
investigations, and filing litigation in
So I do
federal
that,
court to
and I
enforce
do
the
that.
NVRA's requirements. Private parties may also bring litigation in federal court to enforce the NVRA. The U.S. Election Assistance Commission is responsible for administration of the National Voter Registration Form,
I don't
as well
remember
as
how high
state
to make it,
reporting
and I
under
really
the
don't want to
NVRA.
screw up making it high. So I'm just going to make
What
it
are
higher
some
than it needs to
examples
be.
of the department's activities to enforce the provisions of the NVRA? An extensive description of the department's NVRA enforcement activities
I'm pretty sure
can be
that's the
found
height
here.
it's supposed to be. So
In particular,
I'm just gonna
significant NVRA decisions
do
or
it.
settlements have been obtained by the department in litigation with the state of Tennessee, Sections 5 and 7 of the NVRA,
I'm just gonna
and the
grab a
state
bunch
of New
netherrack.
York,
I'm not sure
Section
if it's
7 of
bad
the
to use, but I'm
NVRA.
gonna try to use it.
How can I contact the Department of Justice about the NVRA's voter
So,
registration
I
requirements?
do like that? No. Oh yeah.
As
I
a
do
general
this, I
matter,
guess.
the Department of Justice does not issue advisory
So-
opinions concerning the statutes that it enforces. The
One,
department will certainly
two.
consider inquiries from state officials concerning the NVRA, however,
And then
in the
do I have
hope of
enough?
providing
I think I
assistance.
just barely had enough.
Within the Department of
Wonder
Justice,
if I could
the
just done that the whole time
responsibility
instead
for
of getting a
NVRA
frickin'
enforcement
diamond
is
pickaxe.
committed to the voting section
don't
of the
think I need
Civil
it.
Rights Division.
Okay.
You
One of
may
those,
reach the
one of
voting
these.
section at its
Okay.
toll-free telephone number, 800-253-3931.
Is it the right shape though? I think it is.
Updated November 1st,
Okay.
2024.
Flint and steel next.
Civil Rights
gotta
Division,
find
U.S. Department
some
of Justice, 950 Pennsylvania
granite or
Avenue
whatever.
Northwest Office of the
Granite.
Assistant
Gravel.
Attorney General,
Somewhere.
Maine, Washington,
We're near a
D.C.
river. There'll be some somewhere,
20530.
surely.
Civil Rights Division,
I don't see that much.
20251438847.
Whatever. Let me try to remember where the house is.
TTY/TDD, 711.
Is that it? We're okay. So we're now
Sign
done
up
with
for
the
email updates. Links to other government and non-government sites
Pretty
will
much done with
typically
that. Did
appear
I
with the
grab any
external
flint?
link
I
icon
don't
to
think I
indicate that
did.
You are leaving the Department
What
of
a
Justice
shame.
website when you click the link. Social media. About.
Okay. Thank you,
Budget and
Department of Justice. I appreciate you reading all that to me. All right, now I'm gonna get off my ass and actually read the Save Act itself. How's my back? My back is fine. I've been sitting a lot, but I'm sure it'll get bad again. All right, we are officially going to listen to the Save Act itself, and I'm just about to get into the dang nether. That's a pretty good lead up. Let's listen.
There are two versions. Text available as
Okay.
XML/HTML.
Okay, where
Download
do I
XML,
find?
42 kilobytes. TXT,
Where do I find?
31
Oh,
kilobytes.
is this it? This is it. This is it.
PDF, 149 kilobytes.
Wait, no, this is
PDF
dirt.
provides a complete and accurate
Oh.
display of legislation and law texts.
I need.
For public
gravel.
laws and private laws, USLM text display is available in BETA. For more information, see A ref equals slash help slash legislation text
Oh,
number
they're
sign
forever, I
text
think.
formats target equal underscore blank about
It's gonna read a bunch of
legislation
crap
and
for a
law
second.
text
Ignore it. It doesn't matter.
slash a. Shown here.
Here we
Engrossed
go.
in
Now we're getting
House,
to it.
April
Okay.
10th, 2025.
Reading the April 10th, 2025 version.
119th Congress First Session.
First session.
H.
HR 2020.
R.
HR 22.
22.
This is an act.
ANACT. To amend the National Voter Registration Act of 1993 to require proof of
Give me some
United States
fun.
citizenship to register an individual to vote in elections for federal office and for other
Flint.
purposes. Be
Flint
it enacted
gotten.
by the Senate and
Deal
House of
gotten.
Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled.
Okay.
Section 1. Short title. This act may be cited as the Safeguard,
Safeguard
American Voter Eligibility Act,
or the SAVE Act.
SEC. 2. Ensuring
Ensuring
only citizens are registered to vote in
Only
elections for
citizens
federal office.
are registered to vote.
A. Definition of documentary proof of United States citizenship. Section 3 of the National Voter Registration Act of 1993, 52 U.S.C.
Okay,
20502.
I expect a lot of pausing is going to occur because, yes, the speed run is fun. Yes, it's a joke. But understanding the legislation is immensely important. So, Section 1. What's the title of it? The SAVE Act, which stands for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. This is a classic, what do you call this? A Trojan horse? You label it one thing, you trick the American people into supporting it, and then you take away their rights. That's classic. But hey, I haven't read it yet. Maybe I'm wrong. But of course, you're gonna name it something that really uses ethos, logos, and pathos to trick people. Because Americans have the literacy of a 12-year-old. All right, let's see. Is this gonna work? Oh, portal made. All right. To be fair, definition of documentary proof of United States citizenship. Section 2, ensuring only citizens are registered to vote in elections for federal office. So, making sure only citizens can vote for Trump a third time. Because of I'm joking, but he certainly wants that. Section A, definition of documentary proof of United States citizenship. Section 3 of the National Voter Registration Act is amended by striking as used and inserting A in general as used, and by adding at the end of the following, this is going to be big,
is amended. 1. By striking as used and inserting A in
Wish I could slow
general
her
as
down.
used.
She's actually reading too fast for me.
And 2. By adding at the end the following. B.
Documentary proof.
Documentary proof of United States citizenship as used in this act. The term documentary proof of United States citizenship means, with respect to an
Okay,
applicant.
how do I slow her down a bit? That means go back. That's automatic scrolling. Can I not control the speed at which this thing is reading? Speed? Slow it down, please. I want to. This is heavy words.
There are 2 versions.
That's a little too slow. Speed it up a little bit. How about that? Double that speed. There are 2.
Text available as XML/HTML. Download XML kills you more just free to vote.
Oh, nice. I can really jump through it quickly.
Office. A. Definition of documentary proof
Okay,
of
a little
United
slower
States
and we're
citizenship.
perfect.
Section 3 of the National Voter.
That would be perfect, I think. All right.
There are 2 versions.
Huh?
Text
Oh,
available
not this crap
as
again. Yep. Jump. Okay, I'm ready. This is a good speed for me. And no, it's not so I can cheat and beat Minecraft. It's so I can comprehend what's being said while playing Minecraft.
502 is amended. 1. By striking as used and inserting A in general as used. And 2. By adding at the end the following. B. Documentary proof of United States citizenship as used in this act. The term documentary proof of United States citizenship means, with respect to an applicant for voter registration, any of the following. 1. A form of
Real IDs are allowed.
identification issued consistent with the
So my ID
requirements
would
of the
work.
Real ID Act of 2005 that indicates the applicant
So a real ID is.
citizen
Oh,
of
wait,
the
doesn't
United
that?
States.
Doesn't that mean a normal license isn't enough?
2. A valid United States passport.
Passport?
3. The applicant's official United States military identification card, together with the United States military record of service showing that the applicant's place of birth was in the United States. 4. A valid government-issued photo identification card issued by a federal.
Okay, so that one's concerning. The applicant's official military ID card, together with the United States military record of service, showing so it has to show. You have to provide a passport. Let's read this again. The term documentary proof means, with respect to an applicant for voter registration, any of the following: a real ID that indicates the applicant is a citizen, a passport, which of course can only be given to citizens, military ID card showing citizenship, a valid government-issued photo identification card used by a federal, state, or tribal government showing that the applicant's place of birth is in the United States. I don't believe, by definition, that a normal driver's license proves that you were born in the United States. There's no way that they mean that everyone has to have a real ID, because you could have just not by now. A valid government-issued photo identification. Okay, let's keep reading.
State or tribal government showing that the applicant's place of birth was in the United States. 5. A valid government-issued photo identification card issued by a federal, state, or tribal government other than an identification described in paragraphs.
Oh, and my armor. I almost got rid of my armor.
Through 4. But only if presented together with one or more of the following.
Wait.
A certified birth.
So, a valid government-issued photo ID card used by a federal, state, other than an identification described in paragraph 1 through 4. So, a non-real ID license, but only if presented with one of the following.
Certificate issued by a state, a unit of local government in a state, or a tribal government which I. was issued by the state, unit of local government, or tribal government in which the applicant was born. E. was filed with the office responsible for keeping vital records in the state.
Vital records is birth certificate.
I.e. includes the full name, date of birth, and place of birth of the applicant. If lists the full names of one or both of the parents of the applicant.
Oh, thank God it opens up.
Has the signature of an individual who is authorized to sign birth certificates on behalf of the state, unit of local government, or tribal government in which the applicant was born. Vi.
Oh, we are cooked with this nether spawn. This is bad.
The certificate was filed with the office responsible for keeping vital records in the state.
Okay, I know what vital records mean. It means birth certificate bullcrap.
Vi. has the seal of the state, unit of local government, or tribal government that issued the birth certificate.
Response, I have some more energy.
An extract from a United States hospital record of birth created at the time of the applicant's birth, which indicates that the applicant's place of birth was in the United States. C. A final adoption decree showing the applicant's name, and that the applicant's place of birth was in the United States.
Okay, so what is this entire section saying? It's saying that, oh my goodness, about a normal driver's license issued by a federal, state, or tribal government, other than a real ID, a passport, military ID, government-issued photo ID used by a federal or tribal government, that includes the place of birth, which is like, I don't know what that is, but okay. You can now bring your license and birth certificate, a birth certificate is a birth certificate, includes birth certificate, with the seal. It's a birth. You're describing a birth certificate or a naturalization certificate or a consular report of birth abroad. The weird thing where if you're born abroad and you're still a U.S. citizen. Naturalization certificate, obviously. American Indian card issued by the DHS. In general, is amended, inserting subsection C, redesignating subsection B as subsection C. Let me skip forward a bit. Not skip forward, I just read that myself. Requiring applicants to present documentary proof of United States citizenship. Okay, let's go back and read this. This is serious.
Requiring applicants to present documentary proof
God,
of United States citizenship under any method of voter registration in a state. The state shall not accept and process an application to register to vote in an election for federal office unless the applicant presents documentary proof of United States citizenship with the application. C. Registration.
So is this just registration? Let me check some stuff. Requiring applicants to present documentary proof of the United States citizenship under any method of voter registration in a state. The state shall not accept and process an application to register to vote in an election unless the applicant presents documentary proof of United States citizenship with the application. I'm going to check some stuff real quick, okay? What do you need to register to vote? Register to vote in Colorado. I'm pretty sure, can't remember perfectly, that all I needed was my license and something with my address on it. So this is the Colorado Secretary of State's website. How do I register to vote or update my registration? You can register to vote in person. Will I be registered? What is the deadline? You may register online if you have a Colorado driver's license, or you may register by providing the last 4 digits of your social. What if I were to vote on a paper? I'm sorry, register to vote on a paper. Will I be registered to vote if I did not vote in the last? If I did not vote, yes. If you did not vote in the last election, you are still registered and eligible to vote. Oh, if you forget to vote, it's not like you lose your thing. What is the voter registration deadline? Voters may register through election day. Please note. What is a residence for purpose of residence generally means the primary home that you live in. Can I vote if I moved away? I am planning to attend college. If I no longer live, what is automatic voter registration? When an individual interacts with certain agencies such as DMV, they usually will provide information such as name. Registration is then used to register the individual to vote in Colorado. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we do the automatic thing here. Anytime you use the DMV, is it truly automatic in Colorado? I didn't think so. Pretty sure I still had to choose to. Secretary of State's rights. Okay, let me find a printable register to vote form. Colorado register to vote form. Okay. Use this form to register to vote in elections. I don't want to register online. Let's pretend I'm doing a physical form. Okay, so this is it from, the Secretary of State.co.us for Colorado. It asks if I'm a citizen. For my birthday, it asks for name, driver's license, or last 4 of your SSN. So I could do name, driver's license. I could click yes. I could do my name. I could do driver's license. I could do address. Address where I receive mail. Declaration. I affirm I am a U.S. citizen. I have been a resident I'm a resident of Colorado. Oh yeah, you can register ahead of time at 15 and then it will kick in at 18 if you're a kid. I can choose political affiliation. So I don't even need to provide address. I mean, it doesn't. Let's really read this. So let's read the directions like we're trying to vote. What ID do I have to provide? If you have a Colorado driver's license or Colorado ID card, you must provide that number. If you don't have a Colorado driver's license or Colorado ID, you can provide the last 4 of your SSN. If you don't have a license or SSN, Check the box. You may be required to provide an other ID from the list on govotecolorado.gov. I'm going to click that. No! Why would you do this? Go back. Okay. I'm between 15 and 17. You can pre-register to vote. What ID do I have to provide? License. Also SSN. What address do I have to provide? You must provide the address where you live. You got to make sure to send it to the right address so you can get your confirmation to vote or your ballot. Why do you ask for email? What information? We don't share sensitive. So that is according to the act that we just read. Okay, that makes sense. What happens next? Thank you for registering to vote. I'm registering to vote for the first time. We will process your application within 2 weeks. We'll mail you an official information card about 20 days after. I don't think I ever got one of those, but maybe I could have totally forgot. Do I need ID to vote? If you're voting by mail for the first time, you may need to provide a photocopy of your ID. What if I want to vote by mail? All Colorado registered voters automatically receive ballots by mail. Cool. To vote by mail in the next election, you must receive this application at least 8 days before Election Day. If we don't receive this application at least 8 days before Election Day, then you must vote in person. What if I want to vote in person? You can choose to vote in person at your county voter service and polling centers. All voters who vote in person must provide ID. While there are many forms of acceptable IDs, most voters find it convenient to bring their driver's license or Colorado ID. A Colorado ID is available at no cost to those who are eligible. Cool. That's cool. Find the full list of acceptable IDs there. I'm going to click that in a second. For more information on obtaining a Colorado ID, please contact the Department of Revenue. If I'm unaffiliated, yada yada. Okay, I'm going to click this then. So govote.colorado. Register to vote. Do you have an ID? Yes, you can register online. No, you can complete the paper one if you don't have it. Resources. Acceptable forms of ID. Again, this is to register. All voters who vote at the polls must provide identification. If you are voting by mail for the first time, you may need to provide a photocopy of your ID when you return your mail ballot. The following documents are acceptable forms of identification to register to vote. Is this just for Colorado elections or federal elections? I guess that's something I'm missing out on right now. The following documents are acceptable forms of ID. A Colorado license, a passport, employee ID card with a photo of eligible elector issued by any branch, department, or agency. I once tried this with my teacher ID and it did not work. They told me that my registration didn't go through. Pilot's license, military ID, a copy of a current utility bill, bank statement, government check, paycheck, or other government document that shows the name and address of the elector. Name and address. So you could just pull up with. That's cool in Colorado. A certificate of degree of Indian or Alaskan Native blood. A valid Medicare or Medicaid card. U.S. birth certificate. Student ID card with a photograph. Issued with the Department of Education. So like a serious student ID. A valid veteran ID card. Or a tribal ID card. Group residential facility. I'm not sure what that means. Person committed to the Department of DHS and confined, but is still eligible to vote. And people in jail, of course, can still vote. The following are not acceptable. A driver's license to not lawfully present or temporarily lawfully present individuals. Any document produced by Colorado's statewide voter registration system. You can't use an internal document. The last time this was revised was 2008, apparently. This is clearly to be able to vote in federal elections, right? Okay, so now it's saying that a normal ID is not enough. You need a real ID, which is a normal ID combined with a birth certificate or passport, if I recall correctly, which will then tie it to having been born in the U.S. So currently, you could technically vote by living in the U.S. while having a driver's license that is normal, and you can vote. But this would change it so that you have to have a real ID or also include your passport. So this is going to cook a bunch of people that never got a real ID because they simply didn't care to go get it. And I also put off getting a real ID for a very long time. It was annoying as hell. I had to go get a new birth certificate. I had to buy one from the state of Ohio and then get it sent to me here in Colorado, and it cost money and it took time and it was like a whole hassle. Even though I could request it online, that was still a whole hassle and got in the way. And I believe it cost me money to request a new copy, a certified copy of my original birth certificate. And I have one now, but that cost money. And now a bunch of people who didn't before are either going to have to go get a passport or go get a new birth certificate to then make their normal ID into a real ID in time to vote. No, this is bad. This is bad. It should be as easy to vote as possible. Are you here? Do you live here? Are you a citizen? Cool. Done. Like, it should be easy to vote. Okay, wow. This is bad news bears.
Vehicle.
And the issue is, it's not that I am saying I support immigrants that aren't citizens being able to vote. I do, bitch. I fucking do. Every motherfucker that steps foot here should be able to vote. Democracy. Fuck you. Personal opinion. Okay, let's talk about the laws and how the government's supposed to work then. I get it. There's technically some weird ass loophole here where you get a state driver's license even though you aren't an actual U.S. citizen, and then you can provide that license as an immigrant to technically vote somehow. Yeah, I get closing that loophole, but the issue is you're about to require a stupid number of impoverished people to find a birth certificate or get a passport or get a real ID, which requires having a birth certificate or a passport to get the real ID. This is going to make it so a bunch of poor people can't vote. That's what it's going to make happen. Oh, no, I guess which demographics of people in America are historically impoverished due to generations of racism? Black people, brown people.
Driver's License Section 5 of the
Bad.
National Voter Registration
There's the only
Act
use of this is to make it harder for poor
1993.
people to vote. Poor and black people.
52
Brown people.
USC 20,504 is amended.
Oh my God, Ben. It was $270? Oh my God. I don't have a passport. I'm a great example of, like, this literally happened with my most recent version of my driver's license here in the state of Colorado. I got my first couple of licenses in Ohio when I was a kid and then a young adult. And then I moved out here and my license expired. And I did not get a real ID because a real ID required a passport or birth certificate. And I have annoying ass parents that don't keep track of shit and am also impoverished. So you know damn well we didn't keep track of shit. And so I didn't have those things on me. And I was like, no, I don't want a real ID. Just give me my driver's license so I can keep driving and, living and not lose my job. And so I didn't get a real ID. And then this next time that I got my license, most recently, which is only a year or two ago, I did fight to get a real ID because I was afraid that one day I'd have to ride on an airplane and I could use that instead of a passport to take an airplane ride. I had never ridden an airplane until like a year ago or something. Yeah, like this past year and a half. I had never ridden an airplane until just recently. And so guess what? No, I'm not going to go get a passport. That's a hassle and it costs a bunch of money. So instead, I had to request my birth certificate from the state of Ohio using an online portal, and then they had to send it to me. I'm pretty sure that cost me money. That was a whole hassle. And then I was able to go to the DMV with my, I brought my birth certificate and my and a piece of mail, but not a bank statement. And the first time I tried to get a real ID, they actually denied me because I didn't bring the exact right thing that they asked for. And I had even read the digital portal for getting my real ID, and I still did something wrong because I went and brought like an insurance, a credit card statement and not a bank statement or something, or like a credit card bill and not a bank statement with my name and information on it. And they said, no, fuck you, you can't have a real ID. And I had to do it a second time with an appointment with the DMV. where I got every single duck in a row. This took months and months and months in between working full time. That's how hard it was to get a stupid real ID. And they're going to be saying that if you don't already have a passport, you essentially need to have a real ID in order to register to vote. That is so fucked up and is going to fuck over so many poor people. And then you mentioning that like it's over $100 to get your passport. Yeah, no wonder I haven't gotten it. I don't fly often. I don't leave the country because I'm poor and have been for generations. That's not a thing we do. So there's a lot of poor people that just don't have passports.
Section A. 1. By striking each state motor vehicle driver's license application and inserting subject
So
to
it
the
used to be that just a
requirements
normal
under
driver's
Section
license was
8.
enough.
J. Each state motor vehicle driver's license application. 2. In subsection C. 1. By striking each state shall include and inserting subject to the requirements under Section 8. J. Each state shall include. 3. In subsection C. 2. B. A. In clause I.
I'm actually able to like do some game inputs while reading the document now.
B. In clause
New special ability that
E,
I have
by
added.
adding an at the end.
Okay, they're adding a bunch of crap.
And
Legal jargony.
C. By adding
Okay,
at the
please
end
tell
the
me
following
that the
new
nether
clause,
opens up a little bit. Please.
i.e., verify that the applicant is a citizen of the United States.
Oh, I'm so cooked.
4. In subsection
Okay, wait, let's understand this
C.
better. Each state shall, each state motor vehicle license application inserting, adding and at the end, by adding at the end the following new clause, verify that the application is a citizen of the United States. So this is just, but the issue is, yes, this is going to make it so technically illegal immigrants, people who aren't citizens, it's going to add another filter for those people, but it's also going to filter out the bajillion people who are impoverished and just never updated their documentation. Which is a lot of us, including me until recently.
2. C. I. By striking, including citizenship, and inserting, including the requirement that the applicant provides documentary proof of United States
we found like an open nether area finally.
And 5. In subsection C. 2. D.
I think I'm cooked. I don't think I'm
by
beating the game.
striking. And in inserting the following, other than as evidence in a criminal proceeding or immigration proceeding brought against an applicant who knowingly attempts to register to vote, and knowingly makes a false declaration under penalty of perjury that the applicant meets the eligibility requirements to register to vote in an election for federal office. And D. Requiring documentary proof of United States citizenship with National Mail Voter Registration Form Section 6 of the National Voter Registration Act of 1993.
I'm doing a couple of things. I'm going to try to remember which direction do you look in the nether for fortresses. I'm pretty sure it's y-axis, right? No, I don't want your AI overview. Players who travel along will have the best chances of, so travel along the x-axis. Okay, I'm just trying to remember that. I'm going along the x-axis in the nether. All right, bro, get out of my thing. All right, so Section D, requiring documentary proof of United States citizenship with National Mail Voter Registration Form. Section 6 of the National Voter Registration Act of 1993, which we read before. We're going to amend it by striking each state shall accept and use and inserting subject to the requirements of Section 8. Each state shall accept and use to these new requirements. Elections Assistance Commission. We don't use the Federal Election Commission anymore. We changed it. Was that something we did in Project 2025 and the Big Beautiful Bill? I'm reading a lot of this on my own just to really
52
comprehend it.
USC
Okay, travel along the x-axis.
20,505 is amended.
I'm gonna take some cheap
1.
axes.
In
Axes with me.
subsection A, 1. A. By striking each state shall accept and use and inserting subject to the requirements under section 8. J. Each state shall accept and use. And B.
There
By
you go. That's
striking
plenty to say.
Federal Election Commission
Okay,
and
they don't use
inserting
it.
Election
Have they renamed it to
Assistance
Election Assistance Commission, or is this a second
2.
thing from
In
before?
subsection B. By adding at the end the following. The chief
get in.
state election official of a state shall take such steps as may be necessary to ensure that
Alright.
residents of the
Let's do it.
state are aware of the
How do I do this?
requirement to provide documentary
what is
proof
X?
of United
So-
States citizenship to register to vote in elections for federal office in the
Run
state.
along the
3.
x-axis.
In subsection
So I'm currently doing that.
1.
It's going up and down
A.
my movement. So
In
run along. What do you mean
subparagraph,
along it, bro?
by striking in at the end.
Why am I so dumb?
B.
Along
In
the x-axis.
subparagraph B. By striking the period at
Yeah,
the
bro,
end.
I'm running along it
and
right now. That's what I'm doing.
inserting. And
So these are the
And
directions.
C.
Hey,
By
alright, we're
adding
doing
at
that then.
the end the following
we officially
new
have a directionality.
subparagraph. C. The person
Okay.
did not provide
So we're gonna start this
documentary
way.
proof of United States citizenship
Alright, we're already
when
cooked. That took
registering
no
to
time at all,
vote.
and it's over.
And
Well, first we just need to break out of this entire
4.
area. Like, this
By
area sucks.
adding at the end the following new subsection. E. Ensuring proof of United States citizenship. 1. Presenting proof of United States citizenship to election official and applicant who submits the mail voter registration application form prescribed by the Election Assistance Commission pursuant to Section 9A, 2, or a form described in paragraph 1 or 2 of subsection A, shall not be registered to vote in an election for federal office unless A. The applicant presents documentary proof of United States citizenship in person to the office of the appropriate election official not later than the deadline provided by state law
The
for
normal
the
deadline.
receipt of a completed voter registration application for the election. Or B. In the case of a state which permits an individual to register to vote in an election for federal office
how
at
am I
a
getting
polling
down there
place on the day of the
without
election,
dying?
and on any day when voting, including early voting, is permitted for the election, the applicant presents documentary proof of United States citizenship to the appropriate election official at the polling place not later than the date of the election. 2. Notification of requirement upon receiving an otherwise completed mail voter registration application form prescribed by the Election Assistance
I hate how dark
Commission
the nether is.
pursuant to Section 9.
Can't see anything.
A. 2.
But this is the
or
axis we
a
need
form
to travel on,
described in
apparently.
paragraph
Right?
1 or
this.
2
Oh,
of subsection
Oh.
The appropriate election
I don't know, they say
official shall
along the axis,
transmit
right? I
a
am
notice to
currently
the
moving on it.
applicant of the requirement to present documentary proof of United States citizenship under this subsection, and shall include in the notice instructions to enable the applicant to meet the requirement. 3. Accessibility.
I'm
Each
not locked in
state
on the game right now.
shall, in
I don't know why.
consultation with the Election Assistance Commission, ensure that reasonable accommodations are made to allow an individual with a disability who submits the mail voter registration application form prescribed by the Election Assistance Commission pursuant to Section 9.
I think I might be stupid because I'm confused as to how this
or
affects
a form described in paragraph
the whole thing with
1
women
or
who haven't changed their last
2
name.
of subsection A.
What am I
To
missing? Maybe it
present
doesn't come in yet?
documentary proof of United States citizenship to the appropriate election official. E. Requirements for voter
Dude, we are so
registration agency
Like it's
Section
over.
7 of the National Voter Registration
Ooh.
Act of 1993.
Ooh. Okay, maybe.
52 U.S.C. 20,506 is amended. 1. In subsection A, in paragraph 4, by adding at the end the following new clause.
Okay, I can
If
fall there.
receipt of documentary proof of
Okay,
United
that's pretty
States
bad.
citizenship of each applicant to register to vote in elections for federal office in the state. And
Okay, let me just think and use my brain for a second. Women's birth certificate is going to have their original last name. It's now asking that if you don't have a real ID, first of all, does a real ID even update your last name if you take your husband's name with a marriage license situation? I don't actually know that. But a woman has a birth certificate name and then a driver's license name. The birth certificate is going to say a different last name than their driver's license if they change to their partner's last name. And then the DMV is not going to like that, right? No, not the DMV, but the voter registration thing's not going to like that. They're going to be like, we can't identify you as having been born here because the person who was born here had that last name. So does this screw over women who have taken their husband's name, or does this screw over women who haven't taken their husband's name? I'm confused. I feel like I'm missing something, and I'm not intelligent enough to understand it right now. Entirely possible, by the way. I'm not that intelligent.
By striking,
I'm playing Minecraft for reading this, obviously.
Citizenship and inserting, including the requirement that the applicant provides documentary proof of United States citizenship. And E. By redesignating subparagraph B as subparagraph
All right, we're doing something.
C.
No. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read the entire thing, and if I still don't know how it affects whether or not women can vote after changing their name, their last name or not when they get married, I'm going to look up an article of someone else explaining it, because if I at least need to get through the whole thing before giving up.
And i.e.
It's clearly something I don't get, though.
Inserting after subparagraph A.
I think it's because the idea of changing your last name, I don't know anything about that process. Holy
B.
shit. That hurt a
Ask
lot.
the applicant the question, are you a citizen of the United States?
Oh, it killed me that
and
easily.
If the applicant answers
You're kidding.
in the affirmative, require
suck.
documentary proof of United States citizenship prior to providing the form under subparagraph C.
Oh, the spider from earlier. I wonder if it's still angry at me.
2. In subsection
Okay, so
C1.
wow, that is an angry
by
spider.
Inserting who are citizens of the
Alright, I'm gonna
United
run this way this time.
States.
Oh,
after
I've already
for
run this way once before.
persons.
Okay, let's run the other way. Let's see what
F.
happens.
Requirements with respect to administration of voter registration. Section 8 of the National Voter
there's lots of room to run that
Registration
way.
Act
I don't
of
know if I can clutch that distance, though.
1993.
Oh my god.
52 U.S.C. 20,507
This is a
amended.
terrible nether
1.
spawn.
In subsection A.
I feel completely screwed.
A. By striking in the administration of voter
Okay.
registration and inserting subject to
Is
the
there any food
requirements
that I can
of
eat in this area
subsection
before I die?
J. In the administration of voter registration. And
Oh, wait, what if I jump on this
B.
and then I use it?
In
No!
paragraph
Okay,
3.
I'll head this way again in a second.
I. In subparagraph B. By striking or at the end.
What are we adding now?
And E. By adding at the end the following new subparagraphs. D. Based on documentary proof or verified information
Okay,
that
so
the
last time
registrant is
I'm
not a
running this way now,
United
I think.
States citizen.
Yes, I know what I'm doing, kind of.
Or
Where the hell did that spider come from, bro?
E.
Genuinely,
The
where did you come
registration
from? This is
otherwise
the nether.
fails
I
to
don't think you're supposed to
comply
spawn
with
here.
applicable state law.
Why are you so mean too, by the way?
2. By redesignating subsection J as subsection L. And
There's wood and there's
3.
mushrooms. I can
By
make mushroom
inserting
soup
after
if I want, I'm pretty sure.
subsection I the following new subsections. J. Ensuring only citizens are registered to
caught that.
vote. 1.
Oh my
In
god.
general,
Oh my god, I'm so bad at this
notwithstanding
game. I'm not
any
even
other
joking.
provision of this act, a state may not register an individual
Oh my God, I
to
guess.
vote in elections for federal office held in the state unless, at the time the individual applies to register
Documentary
to
proof
vote,
of U.S. citizenship.
the individual provides documentary
taking
proof of
or not
United
taking your
States
husband's last name affect
citizenship.
that?
2. Additional
the system just keep track of
processes
that?
in certain cases. A. Process for those without documentary proof. I.
mean, I am
In
running
general,
along the
subject
x-axis
to
currently.
any relevant guidance adopted by the Election Assistance Commission, each state shall establish a process under which
How
an
do all these trees not
applicant
catch
who
on fire in this
cannot
game?
provide documentary proof of United States citizenship under paragraph 1 may,
Getting over there feels like it
if
would be
the
useful. What am I
applicant
looking
signs
at?
an attestation under penalty of perjury that the applicant is a citizen of the United States and eligible to vote in elections
got
for
the chunks
federal
maxed.
office, submit such
How do I
other
change my field of view?
evidence to the
I
appropriate
would do it,
state
no
or
joke.
local official demonstrating that the
We're
applicant
going
is
wide
a
so we can
citizen
see
of
more
the
stuff.
United States, and such
Okay.
official shall make a determination as to whether the applicant has sufficiently established United States citizenship for purposes of registering to vote in elections for federal office in the state.
Oh
B.
shit, that sounds bad.
Affidavit requirement if a state or local official makes a determination under clause I that an applicant has sufficiently established United States citizenship for purposes of registering to vote in elections for federal office in the state. Such determination shall be accompanied by an affidavit developed under clause i.e., signed by the official swearing or affirming the applicant sufficiently established United States citizenship for purposes of registering to vote. I.e., development of affidavit by the Election Assistance Commission. The Election Assistance Commission shall develop a uniform affidavit for use by state and local officials under
understanding about this
clause
process right now?
E, which shall I include an explanation
heading
of
that
the
way.
minimum standards required
I don't
for
know
a
if I have
state
enough
or local official
blocks.
to register an applicant who cannot provide documentary proof of United States citizenship to vote in elections for federal office in the state. And the second,
Discrepancies in
require the
documentation. Is this
official
it?
to explain the basis for registering such applicant to vote in such elections. B. Process in case of certain discrepancies
in
in
documentation.
documentation subject to any relevant guidance adopted by the Election
Each state
Assistance
shall establish a
Commission.
process.
Each state shall
Additional
establish a
documentation.
process under
So
which an
they're requiring a new
applicant can provide
process
such
for
additional documentation to the
discrepancies like
appropriate
that?
election official of the state
Oh,
as
no,
may be
I don't have a way to
necessary
keep
to
moving forward.
establish that
I
the
just
applicant is a citizen of
to
the
go.
United States in the event of a discrepancy with respect to
So
the
a
applicant's
discrepancy
documentary
would definitely
proof of
be the
United States citizenship.
old name and the new name not matching.
3. State requirements. Each state shall take affirmative steps on an ongoing basis to ensure that only United States citizens are
Yes, you've
registered
said that
to
4
vote
times.
under the provisions of this Act, which shall include the establishment of a program described in paragraph 4. Not later than 30 days after the date of the
What the hell are
enactment of
writing
this
those
subsection.
things right there?
4. Program described a state may meet the requirements of paragraph 3 by establishing a program under which the state identifies individuals who are not United States citizens using information supplied by one or more of the following sources.
There's another portal over there. What the hell am I supposed to do with
The Department
that?
of Homeland Security through the systematic alien verification for entitlements, save, or otherwise. B. The Social Security Administration through the Social Security number
I genuinely don't know what to do.
verification
I don't think I'm
service,
beating.
or otherwise.
I don't think I'm beating this game before.
C. State agencies that
I don't
supply
think I'm beating
state
it in time.
identification cards or driver's licenses where the agency confirms the United States
What are writing those
citizenship
down there?
status
They're
of
like little babies
applicants.
on top of the big ones.
D. Other sources, including databases, which provide confirmation of United States citizenship.
All right, I'm focusing on reading for a second. Oh, definitely people who are married and the other last name, right? Isn't there another thing about the enforcement that makes it more strict? So, process in case of certain discrepancies in documentation. To adding new discrepancy processes. The eligibility will be available no later than 24 hours after the request. We're still going to read the whole thing. I'm just reading ahead a little bit. Okay, well, we're going to go back up there. Still reading the whole thing first. And then I'm going to try to... You know what? I'm doing it now. I'm tired. How does the Save Act affect married women? And then I'm looking for Reuters, AP News, maybe NPR, but I would prefer... VoteBeat is probably an organization. Reuters. I did just see a video from frickin' her. Oh, okay. They're saying married women who changed their last names will still be able to vote. Okay, there's something from Reuters. Who else could I possibly care to see this from? Associated Press. Okay, so what's her name? Oh my God, Heidi is it Heidi Ganol? No, it's someone else, isn't it? The direct correspondence from them is gonna explain. Oh my God, cars now? Car. Watch me do this for 10 minutes. I'm not joking. I hate these things recently. Well, here we go. Okay, what is this bozo's name? Oh my God, I hate that it does this. I genuinely hate that it does this. If I use like a secure browser instead. Oh, let me just read the damn description then. White House press secretary. Married women who have changed their last names will still be able to vote. Yeah, I'm gonna have to read. Okay. Well, thank you, NPR. Will the SAVE Act make it harder for married women to vote? We ask legal experts. Sure. As a safeguard, yeah. There's been a growing debate. The bill may affect voters for millions, particularly those who have changed their last names if it becomes law. Sweeping reforms. Okay, among NPR. Prove U.S. citizenship before registering to vote. Birth certificate, U.S. passport, naturalization paperwork, certain real IDs. 69 million American women who have taken on their spouse's name. Their birth certificate. Okay, I'm not an idiot. For the 69 million American who have taken on their spouse's name, their birth certificate does not match their real name. So their birth certificate will not be viable. And they now need to go do something else to be able to vote. Because their normal license doesn't work alone. And then the real ID issue doesn't work because not everyone has a passport. Disenfranchise million voters, especially married women. Democrats have been fear-mongering about this bill. Married women change their name, they'll not be able to vote. Yeah, true. No, they can vote. It's now just harder to. Because their birth certificate will not be, it won't be one of the working documents that you guys are asking for. It's a hurdle. I agree. That's a good language. Yeah, pretty much no one gets a court decree. Marriage certificates are more commonly issued. Obtaining one may be hard for women who have been married for a long time and don't have it. Additional cost. That's a poll tax. Okay, so I'm not an idiot. I am not an idiot. And I know how to read and comprehend a legal document. I'm happy to see that. I should have checked when that NPR was published, but whatever. Okay, so no, it's already been said. It's already been explained pretty straightforward and simply. Back to the document. Oh, OBS, where did you go, OBS? Thank you, OBS. Okay, we gotta fix that. We're good. Okay, cool. No, I'm not an idiot. I know how to read. The issue is... Oh, dear God. I'm destroying the microphone. The issue is extremely obvious, and I've understood it the entire time. I thought maybe I was tripping. No, if a woman who is married and has taken on their husband's last name show up with a normal ID and a birth certificate, which would be doing what they were told based on this act, we can scroll back up to that. I'm going to scroll back up to it. I'm going to really prove my literacy. As used in this act, the term documentary proof means with respect to an applicant for voter registration any of the following: a form of ID that is a real ID, or a passport, or a birth certificate. A valid government-issued photo identification card by state or tribal, but so you can do a not save ID and your birth certificate, which some women may have, and that they're cooked because their married name is now different from their birth certificate name and they won't take it. There are other avenues. Sounds like they can bring a marriage license too.
Status.
Can we, where's
5. In general, let the
Back to it.
review of
Thank
information
you.
which
So I'm not an idiot. No, that not only does that cook a bunch of poor people who don't want to have all those documents at the same time, can't afford to, historically haven't gotten access to them, it also cooks any woman who's like, oh, I've got my birth certificate and my normal ID, so I'm ready. No, this is bad. Bad piece of legislation. Simple, plain. Unless you're going to pay for every American to have access to these things, it's a bad piece of legislation.
provide confirmation
Okay.
of United
Well, we're gonna keep
States
playing while we finish reading it.
citizenship status.
I'm not dumb. I know how to read.
5.
That's how it screws over married
Availability of
women.
information.
Is that, in
A.
fact, they'll be like,
In
these are not the same
general,
name,
at
they
the
don't count.
request of a state election
Understood.
official, including a request related to a
about this? What
process
if I can get over there
established
somehow?
by a state under paragraph 2.
I saw a giant
A,
angry pig a second ago, though.
2.
Probably not gonna go well for me.
Any head of a federal department or agency possessing
Uh-oh.
information relevant to determining the eligibility
There's
of
a
an
very angry pig over there
individual to
somewhere, I
vote
know.
in elections for federal office shall,
Oh,
not later
I have
than
made a mistake.
24 hours after
Lock
receipt
in.
of such
Ah!
request,
Yeah, I died.
provide the official with such information as may be necessary
What do you think,
to
dude?
enable the official
Butcher, what do
to
you think? How
verify
do
that
I
an applicant for voter
find the end before the game's
registration in
over?
elections for federal office
It's
held
so
in
hard
the
once I get to
state
this
or
point in the game. Every
registrant
time, it's
on
so
the
hard.
official list of eligible voters in elections for federal office held in the state is a citizen of the United States,
Oops.
which shall include providing the official with such batched information as may be requested by the official. B. Use of safe system. The Secretary of Homeland
We're going this way again.
Security may
We're gonna see where it
respond
goes.
to a request
Is this again the
received under
x-axis? I really am
paragraph
struggling to memorize.
1. By
Yes, it is the
using the
x-axis.
system for the verification of immigration status
What do
under
they mean
the
by along the
applicable
x-axis?
provisions of Section 1137 of the Social Security Act, 42 U.S.C. 1320 bits minus 7, as established pursuant to Section
bits minus 7, that's fine.
121 C of the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986, Public Law 99-603. C. Sharing of information. The heads of federal departments and agencies shall
I guess we
share
just go get a bunch more
information
wood and
with
keep
each
trying this.
other with
I'm going
respect
cross-eyed.
to an individual
don't
who
wanna
is the
read the bills.
subject
Oh,
of
yeah.
a request received
Reading
under
these sucks.
paragraph A. In
But you can
order
get used to it. You can,
enable
like, build
them to
literacy with legal
respond to
jargon
the
if you read it enough.
request. D. Investigation. For purposes of removal, the Secretary of Homeland Security shall conduct an investigation to determine whether to initiate removal proceedings under Section 239 of the Immigration and Nationality
I'm
Act,
using a
8
wood axe to
U.S.C.
mine a bunch of wood.
1229, if it is determined pursuant to subparagraph A, or
Again, they're like,
B,
we're trying to stop these
that an
illegal aliens from
alien,
voting. Brother,
as
that's
such
not
term
happening,
is
brother.
defined in Section
It's
101
not happening.
of
It's
the
not often.
Immigration and Nationality Act.
You're going to require
8
every woman in the
U.S.C.
country to get a hold of a save
1101
ID or a
is
passport.
unlawfully registered to vote in elections for federal office.
Because their birth certificate will never work.
E.
They've changed their name
Prohibiting
now.
fees. The head of a federal department or agency may not charge a fee for responding to a state's request under paragraph.
But again, you're requiring
A.
people to use money to
K.
access documentation.
Removal of non-citizens
when you could just
from
let them vote.
registration rolls. A state shall remove an individual who is not a citizen of the United States
I'm not denying that
from the
the
official list
outcome of this act
eligible
would be
voters for
in part
elections for
that it is
federal
harder for
office
someone
held in the
trying
state at any
to
time upon
vote who
receipt
is
of
not a U.S. citizen.
documentation or
I acknowledge
verified
that
information
it would have
that a
that impact.
registrant is not
It would
a
also have the
United
impact of
States
fucking over like a
citizen.
million people.
G. Clarification of
So,
authority of state to remove
not a good piece of
non-citizens from
legislation.
official list of eligible voters. 1. In General Section 8, A, 4, of the National Voter Registration Act of 1993, 52 U.S.C. 20,507, A, 4, is amended.
Okay, we got a bunch of
By
wood.
striking
I'm
or
about
at
to
the
get
end
exploded.
of
Oh my god, I actually am getting
subparagraph
exploded. Are you kidding me? I just got all this wood.
B. By adding or at the end of subparagraph B.
Okay, I'm still going the right direction.
And C. By adding at the end the following new
You're kidding me.
subparagraph.
Oh my god.
C.
I didn't bring any
Documentary
food.
proof or
I'm so
verified
stupid.
information that the registrant is not a United States citizen.
Let's just start building a
2.
bridge.
Conforming Amendment Section 8, C, 2, B, I, of such act, 52 U.S.C. 20,507, C. 2. B. I. is amended by striking 4. A. and inserting 4. A. or C. H.
What are we doing to the
Requirements with
mail
respect to
voting?
federal mail voter registration form. 1. Contents
Oh,
of mail
shoot.
voter
Oh my God, I'm
registration
so
form
bad at this
section
stupid
9.
game.
B. Of such act 52 U.S.C. 20508. B. is amended. A. In paragraph 2. By striking, including citizenship, and inserting, including an explanation of what is required to present documentary proof of United States citizenship. B. In paragraph 3. By striking an at the end. C. In paragraph 4. By striking the period at the end, and inserting and D. By adding at the end the following new paragraph. 5. Shall include a section for use only by a state or local election official to record the type of document the applicant presented as documentary proof of United States citizenship, including the date of issuance, the date of expiration,
with my single
if any,
heart of health right
the
now.
office which issued the document, and any unique identification number associated with the document.
We're going parkour right
2.
now.
Information on mail voter registration form section 9.
Oh, we are so
B.
cooked.
4. Of such act
Why doesn't this wood
52
catch on fire, by the
U.S.C.
way?
20508. B. 4. is amended. A.
Holy
By
crap, I'm
redesignating
going to die.
clauses I through
How does this wood not
IE
catch fire? What
as
is going on
subparagraphs
in this confusing
A
game?
through C.
What is the lore that allows this
respectively,
wood to be fireproof, despite
and
being wood? And
B. In
ridiculous.
subparagraph C. As so redesignated
oh,
and
we're
as
cooked.
amended by
I can't even move
paragraph
forward anymore.
1. C. By striking.
I guess I could fall.
And in inserting the following.
Sure, let's do it. Let's fall.
Other than
Let's take a
as
look while we do
evidence
it.
in a
Anything?
criminal
No? Okay.
proceeding or immigration proceeding brought against an applicant who attempts to
All right,
register
I think
to
I might
vote
just finish out
and
reading
makes a
and
false
acknowledge that I'm not gonna
under
pull.
penalty of perjury.
I'm
that
not gonna
the
pull a
applicant
win
meets the
this time around. It's just
eligibility
every time I get to the Nether, it
requirements
takes me
to
so
register to
long to
vote
find
in
a
an
stupid
election
fortress.
For federal office.
I never get like a good fortress, and it takes
And
me so long to build a portal in the
I.
first place that I
Private
want to
right
dedicate
of
to the world that
action
I've got.
Section 11 B 1 of
We'll
the
just do last-ditch
National
efforts.
Voter
Let's just start
Registration
spamming new
Act
worlds
of
until we get a better chance.
1993, 52 U.S.C. 20510 B 1 is amended by striking a violation of this act and inserting a violation of this act, including the act of an election official who registers an applicant to vote in an election for federal
I wonder what the world
office who
record for, like,
fails
a
to
free
present
spawn random world
documentary
is right
proof
now.
of United States citizenship.
New world, let's do it.
J. Criminal Penalty Section 12. 2. Of such
Oh
act.
my god, I'm just back in another.
52 U.S.C. 20511. 2.
Nope, new world.
Is amended. 1.
This is such a
by
weird way to play this
striking
game.
or at
I
the
understand
end
this
of
is normal
subparagraph
for real speedrunners,
A.
but it's just so weird to me.
2. By redesignating subparagraph B as subparagraph D.
I'm in the middle of nowhere in the
And
ocean.
3. By inserting after
Nothing. No village,
subparagraph
no desert
A
for a desert
the
temple.
following new subparagraphs.
Right? The thing we want is a desert
B.
temple, right?
In the case of an officer or employee of the executive branch, providing material assistance to a non-citizen in attempting to register to vote or vote in an election for
Oh, this is a
federal
pretty
office.
biome. I like this.
C. Registering
Again,
an
I'm cooked
applicant to
because I keep
vote
getting
in an
weird ocean
election
areas.
for federal office who fails to present documentary proof of United States citizenship.
I like how they use the
Or
word documentary as if we didn't
K.
already all have driver's
Applicability
licenses.
of requirements to certain states.
Hello,
1.
sheep.
In general
Nothing.
subsection
Oh,
C of Section
I
4
forgot
of
my
the
field of view is
National
still really
Voter
wide right now.
Registration Act of 1993, 52 U.S.C.
Nope, new world.
20503,
Man,
as
I'm cooked. I don't know if I'm
redesignated by
ever gonna beat one of these stupid.
subsection
Well, I guess I did. I did it
B,
with
is amended by striking
Pretty
this
sure I did it with
act does
Project
not apply
2025
to a
and with
state and
the Great Big
inserting
Beautiful Bill.
except with respect to the
I did
requirements
technically beat
under
it, but
subsection
I had like
I
40 hours.
and J of Section 8 in the case of a state described in paragraph 2. This act does not apply to a state. 2.
Village.
Permitting states to aid
maybe a village in a
DOPT
lava pool.
requirements after enactment
There's an
Section
opportunity in
4
there
of
somewhere.
such act, 52 U.S.C. 20503, is amended by adding at the end the following new subsection. D. Permitting states to adopt certain requirements after enactment subsections I and J of Section 8 shall not apply to a state described in subsection C.
Ooh, the field of view makes it
2.
feel like I'm moving
If the
way faster.
state,
It's a weird
by
feeling.
law or regulation,
Okay, a bucket
adopts
and a lava pool is
requirements
what I would
which
like.
are identical to the requirements under
not seeing
such
nothing,
subsections not later than 60 days prior to the date of the first election
like
for
an even
federal
bigger village over
office
there. What the
which is
heck?
held in the state after the date of the enactment of the SAVE Act. SEC 3.
Chest.
Election
food.
Assistance Commission
Nah, I'm
guidance.
probably gonna give up on this one in a sec.
Not later than 10 days after the date of the enactment of this act, the Election Assistance Commission
By the way, I don't think
shall
this act is
adopt
going to
and
get
transmit
passed,
to the
really.
chief state election
I genuinely don't think
official
it
of
will.
each state guidance
But hey,
with
it
respect
could.
to the implementation of the requirements
talk about it
under
just
the
in case it does,
National Voter
unfortunately.
Registration
We didn't think the
Act
Big
of
Beautiful Bill would have a chance, but it clearly did
1993.
it. So
52 U.S.C. 20,501 at SEC, as amended by Section 2. SEC 4. Inapplicability of paperwork reduction
I'd like to
Act.
just go back to playing this game where I just enjoy the way it looks.
Subchapter I of
because
Chapter
look at this is so
35
cool
of
looking.
Title 44, commonly referred to as the Paperwork Reduction Act, shall not apply with respect to the development or modification of voter registration materials under the National Voter Registration Act of 1993, 52 U.S.C. 20,501 at SEC, as amended by Section 2. Including the development or modification of any voter registration application forms. SEC 5.
Ooh,
Duty of
a
Secretary
spawn
of
that puts me
Homeland
genuinely high up,
Security to notify
see.
election officials of
and
naturalization.
I see nothing.
Upon receiving information that an
Nothing I can
individual has
use.
become a naturalized citizen of the United States, the Secretary of Homeland Security shall promptly provide notice of such information to the appropriate chief
Whoa,
election
did it really just
official
manifest
of the
that? That's
state
a
in
weird
which
thing
such
to see.
individual is
What is this?
domiciled. SEC
What a weird thing I'm looking at right now in the
6.
game.
Rule of Construction regarding provisional ballots. Nothing in this Act or in any amendment made by this Act may be construed to supersede, restrict, or otherwise affect the ability of an individual to cast a provisional ballot in an election for federal office
Man, the
or to
fallen
have
trees
the
are such a
ballot
weird addition to
counted
the
in the
game. Feels
election
weird.
if the individual is verified as a citizen of the United States pursuant to Section 8, J, of the National Voter Registration Act
Nope.
of
I need a desert, temple,
1993,
and a
as
village.
added by Section 2, F,
Oh, good
SEC
God.
7. Rule of
I wonder if
construction
there's like a
regarding
category of
effect
challenge
on
where like
state
a
exemptions
real
from
speedrunner
other
is allowed to do
federal
this,
laws.
but they have to do it within
Nothing in
like a
this
certain
act
period of
or in
time.
any amendment made by
Like
this
you get
act
30 minutes
may
maximum
be construed to affect the
to
exemption
beat
of
the
a
game,
state from any requirement of any
but
federal
you have to
law
find a
other
random
than the
spawn that works.
National Voter
We don't count
Registration
how long it
Act
took you
of
to beat the random spawn when you found it.
1993.
We count
52
just luck
USC
in finding a good one, or making use of what you get in the time that you have. That'd be interesting.
SEC
That probably already exists.
8.
Oh boy,
Effective
an ice
date.
village. Or a,
This act
whatever,
and the
whatever you call this
amendments
biome.
made by this
Red
act shall take
potato.
effect on the date of
Useful.
the enactment of this act.
Wow, high field
and
of view
shall
really makes this game
apply
feel like
with
I'm running
respect
faster
to
than I am.
applications for voter registration which are submitted on or after such date. Passed the
That guy's got
House
2
of
ovens.
Representatives April 10th,
If only he had 5 ovens.
2025.
Then he could direct Iron Lung.
Attest. Clerk.
Oh.
119th
didn't go
Congress
in.
first session.
Oh, yeah, we got to the end of it. I lost.
R.
God dang it.
22.
Alright, there it is.
ANACT.
That really is it.
To amend the
that that
National
weird
Voter
spire from over there?
Registration Act of 1993 to require proof of United States citizenship to register an individual to vote in elections for federal
Wow.
office
Well, what a beautiful place to
and
live, I
for
guess.
other purposes.
Oh, goodness. Alright, final reflections. 1, yeah, I sure as heck did not win. 2, I don't know what to say. Let me go to big screen mode and go ahead and cancel out of Minecraft and delete these. Let me delete these 20 worlds that I just spawned, and hopefully I don't accidentally delete my... I still have my Project 2025 one. I think I still have my old, I believe these 2 are both still my legit worlds. Let me see. What is this? Is this my what run is this? Is this, have I beaten the end in this one? No, because I clearly just have like a house. What is this one? I don't know. Was this a previous run that just went really fast or something, I guess? I don't know. I need to start labeling if I'm doing the long-term ones, but I'm not good at that. This is my old Project 2025 one, though. Yeah, buddy. I mean, I really did it, huh? That was such a crazy stream. What happened? I just didn't make it. The bill is finished reading before I could beat the game. I'm just checking out my old one now. This is the world from when I read all of Project 2025, which was 900 pages or whatever. And I did win that time. I made it to the end in that one. Here we go. Alright, so, yeah, I'm going to close Minecraft out. I'm going to go to the full face cam. Final reflections, final summaries. Yeah, so what I was hearing about the whole screwing over married women thing, that was pretty bad. It's not married women that didn't change their last name. It's the quadrillion of them that did change their last name. So like what are the main effects of this? It's just making it so a normal license isn't enough anymore. Obviously in the United States, there are many types of driver's licenses. Pretty much everyone in the United States drives because something oil and gas lobby, something lobbying oil and gas. We also have a very big country. Everyone has a driver's license. It became the norm that if you had your driver's license, you could register to vote, and that would be enough. A driver's license, and maybe in some cases, a piece of mail proving that you have an address in the district that you're in for like the local elections. But for federal elections, having a driver's license was always enough. Now they're saying you need your driver's license, and you can either have a what do you freaking call it? I already forgot what it's called. What do you call the higher level of driver's license? It's not save license. It's not a fire license. It's not a... Jesus Christ, what do you call that license again? A real ID. A real ID. So a real ID is an ID that lets you fly on an airplane domestically in the United States, and it requires that you like have more documentation than a normal driver's license. It requires that you have, I think, like a passport or birth certificate and a couple of other things. So it's like an ID that represents 4 other IDs combined, which frankly is complicated to put together. So now it's going to amend it and say that you can't register to vote unless you have the ID, the real ID that represents like 5 IDs combined, or you have an old driver's license, but also a passport or birth certificate. And obviously, poor people like me that don't go everywhere, don't have passports. Poor people that have dumbass family, which my mom tried, my dad tried, but poor people that have dumb parents, which we know parents, there's lots of dumb parents out there, who didn't keep a hold of a birth certificate. Well, now that person who's trying to register to vote for the first time, has to go find a birth certificate. And if that person happens to be a married woman who did change her name to her husband's name, or it could be a married dude who changed his name, it could be a married person who changed their last name, now their birth certificate name doesn't match their driver's license name, and they can't register to vote. And now they have to do some cockamamie bullshit of getting a passport or something, fingerprints, I don't know. They're going to have to go through a bunch of hoops just to be able to access the ability to register to vote. So, no, we've just screwed over millions of people with this act, and that's not fear-mongering. That will screw over a lot of people who will have to spend money and a lot of time, despite all of us being busy and working full-time, because, you know, productivity in the country has gone up, but the cost of living has gone up, inflation has gone up, but workers' wages have practically stagnated, if not gone down. And so we're all busy working full-time. We can't all go out of our way to take many days off of work to figure out all this bullcrap and get a passport made and afford the passport or afford the birth certificate or navigate the system to access those things. So yes, this does in fact, it's a poll tax. It's a poll tax on a lot of people, millions of people, poor people and women, poor people and married people. That's a lot of people. So I'm happy I read this. I'm happy I can form a very strong and conclusive opinion on it. I'm happy I now can communicate how bad this is to people in a way that's coherent and evidence-based and based on an actual reading of the document. This is bad. Fascism is bad. Donald Trump is bad. The current American Republican Party is bad. The Democrats ain't helping much either. This sucks. Wow. I read a legal document in the 2020s. I read a legal document and my conclusion was that it was bad. Who knew? That's been the entire 2020 so far. Oh my God. So, yeah, there's the stream. Hope you had fun. I need to get faster at playing Minecraft, man. I gotta beat one of these one day. I'm gonna go insane if I keep reading this stuff. That's all I'm gonna say. I think I'm gonna do some chill streams soon where I just play video games and nothing else and just chill on stream with the quiet party. I'd like to do that soon because I am still recovering from a recent hospitalization and a significant back injury. So I can only do stuff like this for the time being, and I have very limited stamina to go outside and do the stuff that I really like to do. So I may do some cozy video game streams soon, but they're not going to be cozy because the game I intend to play is a horror game, unfortunately. I've been wanting to play one. So, well, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like this video if you liked it. Get subscribed if you'd like to see more of the Quiet Part YouTube channel's content. And take care and make good choices. Bye, bed. Take care. Yeah, I am very much alive, and I will hopefully heal and get better. It'll be great.